the Big 8 game of the week. Today from Memorial Stadium, the Nebraska Cornhuskers take on the Kansas Jayhawks. Hello again, everybody. I'm Dave Armstrong along with Dave Lapham. And Dave, I guess before we talk about today's game, I want to take a peek at those Big 8 standings because they have a big impact on what's going on in the conference this year. You see Nebraska and Colorado knotted with that one tie, and Kansas all alone in fourth place with an overall record of 2-2. That one tie, so key for both CU and Nebraska. What a game in Boulder last week.
Unbelievable football game, and here's one of the big plays in that football game. A long touchdown pass right at the end of the first half. McCant goes to Bostic for 49 yards. That's the longest pass play of the season for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. And the reason they're so encouraged, Dave, about that performance last week, they played so well in the fourth quarter. And critics have said in years past, in critical games, Nebraska doesn't show up down the stretch. Well, they did, and they put themselves firmly in the driver's seat with respect to the Big 3 of the Big 8. Oklahoma's in trouble. Now, if Nebraska wins out, Colorado wins out, Nebraska should go to the Orange Bowl based on a higher national ranking.
Nebraska comes into this game so optimistic. Last year, we remember that Nebraska came into this game really down after losing to Colorado. A much different attitude on this Cornhusker team. But still, Tom Osborne knows that Kansas will be all the Cornhuskers can handle today.
Well, I think you just got to play a solid football game. They've got an outstanding defense, very strong people up front, Stubblefield, great football player, and play very aggressively. They come after you a lot. So I think we'll have to, mix things up. We'll have to run some, throw well, and we think we're a little better prepared to do that than some years. And then defensively, we're going to have to play very well because it may not be a high-scoring game, and we can't let them run up and down the field. Last year we came down here and they did run up and down the field. They didn't score a couple times. They probably should have. So we just hope we can put it all together and play a good ball game.
Yeah, last year in that game, it was 41-9 Nebraska, but Kansas rolled up over 400 yards in total offense. Osborne's a little bit concerned about that. How tough will it be for Dr. Tom to get his team up after that emotional game with CU last week?
Well, they had a good week of practice, but, you look at games like this in years past, Nebraska against other opponents in the Big 8, other than Oklahoma and Colorado, have won 63 straight, and they've beaten this Kansas team 22 straight times. Tom Osborne has never lost. He's 18-0 against Kansas. So, in the back of the mind, maybe they think we just have to show up, and they better not be thinking ahead to Oklahoma because this Kansas team is capable.
Now, this Kansas team is capable because of their defense. Let's talk about their defense for just a second. This KU defense has improved so drastically, even in the snow last week.
Right. It's a little bit chilly here, but nothing like this last week at Oklahoma State. This is the second shutout that Kansas has had in Big 8 play. Second shutout this season. You have to go back to 1965 to track the last time that the Kansas defense has done that, and that's going to be their big challenge today to stop this Nebraska offense, which is ranked in the top 3 in the entire country.
Well, right now, Glenn Mason's glad he's got that good defense to go up against Nebraska. Mason's saying, hey, I'm going up against the legend today, Tom Osborne, as he gets ready for the Cornhuskers. Let's find out his keys to victory.
Oh, the keys to victory against Nebraska are not very much different than the keys any week. However, I think when you play a team like Nebraska, they become very important, especially early in the game. On offense, we've got to protect the football. We can't turn it over. We've somehow got to maintain the ball and move the chains, and we've got to take care of every scoring opportunity that arises. And on defense, we got to try to slow them down because they're awful good. Much has been talked about their much diversified offense, but if anybody is misled that they're not rushing the ball as well as they ever have, they're wrong. And in the kicking game, we got to be sound in the kicking game because Nebraska's got such tremendous athletes in all phases of their game that on any given play they can take it the distance.
And besides the kicking game, I guess we ought to talk about Tony Sands. He only had 29 yards against Kansas State, less than 100 against Oklahoma. What will he do against Nebraska today? Well,
he's going to have to be large today, Dave. Kansas cannot afford to be one-dimensional. I mean, if Kansas has to fire and fall back every snap against Nebraska, if they can't get some kind of ground game established, and obviously Tony Sands is the man, if they struggle in that regard, it could be a long afternoon. Well, it should be an interesting afternoon anyway here in Lawrence, and I guess it's interesting to point out, too, that today was the start of bird season in Kansas, and right now the Cornhuskers are hunting down the Jayhawks, and KU would like to fly high over Nebraska. Prime Network's Big 8 Conference Game of the Week is brought to you by Sports Cream. When muscles hurt, rub in Sports Cream for fast pain relief.
and by brother. Welcome back to Memorial Stadium in Lawrence. It's Kansas taking on the 11th ranked Nebraska Cornhuskers. Nebraska has been ranked for 166 straight weeks. That's all the way back to 1981, the last time a Nebraska team was not ranked. The head coaches for their respective teams. On the right, you see Glenn Mason. Mason, now in his 4th season at KU. He has never defeated Nebraska, and Tom Osborne, as Dave pointed out, has never lost to the Kansas Jayhawks. Osborne, an impressive record against teams other than Colorado and Oklahoma, and pretty impressive against that pair. The temperature today of 44 degrees compared to last week. That's balmy Florida type conditions. Humidity at 35%. The wind will have a factor under sunny skies of about 22 miles per hour. It is blowing as you look at our screen from right to left. Kicking off for the Kansas Jayhawks, Dan Eicloff, one of the best in the country, and just a sophomore. And back deep is Nate Turner along with Derek Brown. Tyrone Hughes did not make the trip. He has a broken wrist. We'll see what impact that has on the Huskers today. Eicloff with a wind at his back. Forget about it. So the Huskers will start on their own 20-yard line. Keithan McCant will start at quarterback for Nebraska. And Dave, what a great surprise he has been for the Cornhuskers this year.
And Keithan McCant has thrown at least 1 touchdown pass in every game so far Nebraska has played. He's closing in on the school record of 10 straight games with a touchdown pass by David Hum.
Well, that 49-yard pass to Bostic last week against Colorado is so big. McCant with 181 yards against the Buffs a week ago. There's some confusion as McCant brings him up to the line. Now from the I formation. McCant to throw. Can't find anybody and has to eat it at the 22. In the backfield for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, the leading rusher in the Big 8 Conference, Derek Brown.
Derek Brown over 1,000 yards already. Only the 5th sophomore in the history of the Big 8 to gain over 1,000 yards.
And as always, running behind a huge offensive line led by Eric Wiegert.
And Wiegert made the move from left tackle to left guard, which solidified the offensive line.
And defensively for Kansas, also big up front, a couple of juniors, Brown and Stubblefield.
Stubblefield has 8 sacks, and he's the leading tackler up front among the defensive linemen.
We'll line up the rest of the defense in a moment. It's 2nd down and 9 yards to go. McCann on the option, pitches it out to Brown. Brown has the first down up to the 35-yard line and rolled out of bounds there by Tim Hill. The linebackers for the Kansas Jayhawks led by Hassan Bailey, who has moved over from his cornerback position.
And Hassan Bailey is the leading tackler at the linebacker position. He had 2 interceptions last week against Oklahoma State.
And the backfield led by Doug Terry.
Doug Terry having a great year, leading the team in tackles, and he's also forced 3 fumbles, a big hitter.
Nebraska now 1st and 10 from the 15-yard line. That first tie for the Cornhuskers in 15 seasons. Interesting that of Osborne's 3 ties in his career, 2 of them have come at night.
That is a little quirk, isn't it? But I thought, as we said earlier, Nebraska pretty pleased with that tie, Dave, because they had an opportunity to win the game when the field goal was blocked, and they felt that they dominated the game in the 4th quarter.
Brown's numbers very impressive for a sophomore. A chance, perhaps, to break Rozier's all-time rushing record at Nebraska. He's got to really kick it into another gear for his last 2 seasons, but there is a chance for Derek Brown. And McCant wants to throw on 2nd and 8. He's got his receiver, Nate Turner, who's got a first down at the 45-yard line before Paul Friday could stop him.
Well, the diversification of the Nebraska offense right away, throwing the football some, and they've thrown pretty well this year. They're just about 158 yards passing a game. You have to go all the way back to 1976 when Vince Ferragamo was quarterbacking at Nebraska to see better numbers than that on a weekly basis.
Boy, and McCant came out of nowhere. I'm reminded when I look at Keithan McCant of that line from Caddyshack where it says, "Kid from nowhere."
Really?
That's McCant. 1st and 10 for the Huskers now at the 45-yard line. Derek Brown, not much doing. A big hit in the middle by Don Davis, the linebacker, and just a freshman.
And that's interesting. 2 freshman linebackers for the Kansas defense. Hassan Bailey, a converted corner. They've got inexperience in both by age and by playing at their out of position at the linebacker core. Maybe Nebraska may be able to take advantage of that a little bit.
Well, you see that, how much Kansas has improved on defense. Look at that, 284 yards per game. They used to allow that just rushing or passing alone. In fact, Kansas was one of the worst in all the NCAA just a few years ago. McCant rolls out of trouble and then throws it away. His intended receiver was Abdul Muhammad, and Paul Friday was there defensively.
And McCant took a hit at the end of that play as he rolled out to his right, and Jim Ratto, or Don Davis, I should say, made the pop on him that knocked him to the turf.
3rd and 10, and the crowd here at Memorial Stadium wants to see KU stop them right here to give the Jayhawks great field position against the Huskers. Good crowd on hand, many of them wearing red today. About 15 to 20,000 made the trip from Nebraska. McCant with time now has to roll out of pressure. He fires and it's batted down. What a nice play by Hassan Bailey.
And that's where he becomes so invaluable, Dave. A converted cornerback. It's excellent to have a guy with that kind of pass coverage skills at the outside linebacker position. McCant takes his 5-step drop, nowhere to go. Now he's going to try to find a little bit more time. Bailey's right there, Johnny on the spot.
The Nebraska forced to punt. Mike Stiggy, the leading punter in the Big 8 Conference. Look at that average, 44.2. Charlie Bowen is back deep. He ran one back 14 yards against New Mexico State, and it's blocked. Hassan Bailey, who batted down the pass, blocks it, and then it's picked up by Matt Gay.
Wow, that is big. Last week, the kicking game hurt Nebraska very, very badly at Colorado. Extra point was blocked, returned for 2 points. Field goal at the end of the game was blocked. Here we see just a short hop. He has to short hop the football. Right up the middle comes the pressure, block taken right off his foot. That is a huge play. Special teams can determine early momentum, and that's what Kansas has done right here.
Well, you talk about field position. How about this? Kansas has it at the 15-yard line. The Jayhawks led by Chip Hillary in his junior campaign. He's had an up and down junior year.
Really, but he's the touchdown maker. He's run for 10 and passed for 3.
KU with momentum. 1st and 10 from the Nebraska 15. Hillary wants to go for it on 1st down. He has his receiver, Kenny Drayton, who is roughed down at the 8-yard line. About a pickup of about 7 yards on 1st down, brought down by Tyrone Bird. Tony Sands, the all-time leading ground gainer in Kansas history.
This guy leads in every category you can think of in the rushing game in all-time Kansas history. That says a lot when you consider Gale Sayers was here.
Boy, the tackles are tough for KU. Perez and Loneker.
Perez, 41 straight starts. Loneker, one of the best drive blockers in the running game in the Big 8.
Chip Hillary, who's run in 10 times this year, and now a timeout has been taken by the Kansas Jayhawks. KU stubbed their toe against Kansas State a little bit, getting this kind of field position in Manhattan. They don't want to do that again here today. You don't get these many opportunities against Nebraska, and they want to take advantage of it. Who have 2nd down and 3 yards to go defensively for Nebraska as they're put in this hole as Kansas got it on the 15 up front. Pat Engelbert, Tom Osborne calls him one of the best in the country at nose guard. We'll take a closer look at him in a moment, but right now it's 2nd and 3 for KU with Drayton in motion. The give is to Roger Robin. He busts through inside the 5 down to the 4-yard line, and that's close to a 1st down. Pat Engelbert, what more can you say about him? What a great game against CU.
Pat Engelbert leads the defensive linemen in tackles. He had 10 last week against Colorado, 5 unassisted.
The linebackers led by Travis Hill.
Travis Hill is a big play man, got 3.5 sacks. They look for him to be the guy.
And Carmer also had a great game against CU a week ago.
And Carmer, for the first time since they've been keeping these kind of stats, could lead the entire defense as a defensive back in tackles.
1st and goal for KU at the 4-yard line. And in motion goes Matt Gay. The give is to Monty Cousins. He doesn't get much. Maybe a yard. Maybe.
Well, now the hats on this Nebraska defense, Dave, to limit this to a field goal opportunity. Kansas, of course, on the flip side of that, would like to get 7 out of this and not settle for 3. As you mentioned earlier, you want to score a touchdown when you get this kind of an opportunity and get the early lead, the early momentum against Nebraska. The better that Kansas plays earlier, Dave, the more confidence they'll generate and make this a football game.
Remember, this game is at KU. That picture there makes it look like it's red in Lincoln. As Hillary stares up into that sea of red on 2nd and goal from the 3.5. Hillary to throw in the end zone. It's too high. Pass was intended for Pete Vang, and if Vang would have caught that, not only would have been his first touchdown reception of the year, but his first reception.
Little play-action fake, put the ball in Tony Sand's belly for a second just to try to freeze the linebackers, get them to fill. A lot of pressure on Curtis Cotton, number 9. He had the coverage, but he did get beaten a little bit to the inside. The throw was just a little high.
Now 3rd and goal here. When we saw Kansas play against Kansas State, they gambled on 4th down a couple times. Mason told us yesterday, against Nebraska, no way, we're kicking the 3.
That's right. Put the points on the board, particularly in your first drive.
Let's see, on 3rd and goal, Hillary tried the draw and got nowhere. Down to about the 1.5. Now the crowd here wants him to go for it, but Matt Hillman and that Nebraska defense stuffs KU. And now we'll see if Mason is true to his word and will kick the field goal.
I think he will. I don't think we're going to see any kind of a fake here, Dave. I'd be surprised, because if it backfires, you lost an opportunity to at least get something out of some early momentum.
A 24-yard attempt for Eichloff. This is almost automatic for Eichloff. It is up, and it is good. And the Kansas Jayhawks, after blocking a punt from Nebraska, take it down and get the first points of the game.
I think he made the right move there, Dave. You got to get points on the board. He talked to us yesterday about it. Kansas State, when he went for it on 4th down early and didn't get it, when it cropped up again later in the game, he said, well, didn't get it the first time. I got to make up for it this next time. Didn't get it the second time, and ultimately it was a big factor in the outcome of the football game. Get the points on the board against Nebraska.
Yeah, absolutely. 3-0 now for KU. The series record between these two teams heavily favors the Nebraska Cornhuskers. This, the 98th meeting. That's the 3rd longest series in the history of college football. You see Nebraska's lead, and the first time they met was way back in 1892, 99 years ago.
That's amazing.
Now the band has something to play about here at Kansas as the Jayhawks take a 3-0 lead over the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Nebraska, you wondered how they were going to come out. They moved the ball pretty well offensively for a couple of first downs, and then Kansas stopped McCann as he missed on a couple of pass plays, and then the big block punt. Boy, that was huge for KU.
It is, and for the 2nd game in a row now, the kicking game has let the Nebraska Cornhuskers down as they make their drive toward what they hope is an Orange Bowl appearance. They got to tighten up the ship a little bit in the form of special teams.
High cloth to kick off again, and again forget about it as he booms it through the end zone, and again Nebraska will have to start at their own 20. Well, we were talking about Keithan McCann and what a pleasant surprise he has been for Tom Osborne. Even Osborne, when we talked to him yesterday about it, said, yeah, he is quite a surprise for us.
Well, Keithan's been a real pleasant surprise. He's always had a lot of talent, but at times hasn't been the most consistent guy in the world. And he's kind of got it all put together, and I think through 8 games has played very well. I'm sure that maybe a player like Jerry Taggy or Turner Gill or maybe David Hunt or somebody might have played better, but he's played right up there with the very best through this number of ball games. And he's a good runner. Has rushed, I think, for 500-600 yards. He's thrown for around 1,000 to this point, so he can do it all.
Well, right there, all he had to do was give it to Derek Brown, who ran 14 yards, big hole for a first down.
And he can do it all too. That was just the isolation play, fullback leading it up inside. And Derek Brown, I'll tell you, he had a big game in the second half last week against Colorado. He only had 4 yards on 10 carries in the first half. In the second half, he had 92 yards, 57 of those yards coming in the critical fourth quarter. He showed that he's big in the big time of the big game. He's a player. He's a player.
96 yards against Colorado, Dave. That's the first time this year that Derek Brown has not rushed for 100.
Right. He had his game, 7 straight games streak was snapped last week.
In motion goes Muhammad. A pitch back to Brown, and boy, is he level. Wow, what a hit by Gilbert Brown. Man, did he take him off his feet or what?
Brown on Brown. And Gilbert won this one. Watch number 93 in the blue jersey. He comes off the block, reads the play to the outside, gets inside of the lead blocker, and boy, just lowers that shoulder and tattoos it. Derek Brown was back on his heels trying to make a cut, and Gilbert Brown just destroyed it.
If you thought those guys might be related, I think that hit will tell you they're not.
That's right.
McCann to throw. And he's got Bostic, but Bostic drops it in and out of the hands of Bostic and incomplete. And it'll bring up 3rd and long for Nebraska.
That's unusual. Bostic's their most reliable of the dependable receivers. He's caught a pass in 15 straight games. He's done it all for Nebraska in his career. He's 16th all-time in catches in NU history.
McCann now just 1 of 4, and Nebraska 0 for 1 on 3rd down today. They try Bostic again. This time he hangs on, and he's got the first down at the 44-yard line. Bostic with a reception, Tim Hill with a coverage.
Let's take a look at what Bostic, number 18 in the white jersey, does. He just runs his defender down, does a little bit of like a reverse pivot move, like you would in basketball in the low post. And he pivots to the sideline, and that little separation that he got from the secondary was just enough to get the pass in there.
Bostic with 14 career touchdowns at Nebraska. That's the most for a receiver, except for a guy named Johnny Rogers, who had 26.
Was he unbelievable. Bostic combined with McCann last week, 49-yard touchdown pass, longest pass play for Nebraska so far this season.
Big 3rd down play there for Nebraska. Now 1st and 10 from the 44. And we've got flags flying on the field. That play not going into the books. Let's see what these flags are about.
I think we had an early start up front by Nebraska.
Illegal procedure. Offense. 1st down.
Our official today, our referee, John Laurie. As you look at Glenn Mason. Mason, boy, he's still kicking himself over that Kansas State loss, 16-12 to the Wildcats. He said, you are looking at the reason why we lost that game. He shouldered all the blame himself. On the option, McCann keeps, and he is hit by Gilbert Brown. Brown having a big day for KU so far.
He is. He and Stubblefield are getting a lot of penetration. I mean, they match up physically pretty darn well with the Nebraska offensive line that averages 294. The interior line of that of the Kansas defense. Look at number 71 in the blue get the penetration, as well as 93 in the blue. The tandem at defensive tackle really destroyed the blocking pattern up front that time.
2nd down and 15 yards to go. McCann has time on the screen pass to Brown with some blockers in front, but then brought down by Hassan Bailey after a pickup of about 7 on 2nd down. It's going to bring up 3rd and 8.
I'll tell you, watching this Kansas defense at the line of scrimmage in particular, Dave, they're very, very legitimate. This is they're playing so aggressively. This is a good call to slow them down, run the screens or draws. And that time they ran the screen pass. Hassan Bailey just a little bit too quick for the big offensive line. He separated from that block and ended Derek Brown's journey quickly.
3rd and 6. Nebraska 1 of 2 on 3rd down today. has it. Oh, wide open was Lance Lewis, but he dropped it. Pass was a little bit behind Lewis, and Lewis is really upset with himself. Lewis out of Scott City, Kansas. When he got off the bus yesterday, he said, oh, it's great to be home again.
This was a nice little pattern here. The secondary went deep. Robert Vaughn, they cleared the zone with the receiver, worked Lewis up underneath. No linebacker to be found. A little bit confused in coverage there, but incomplete nonetheless.
Stiggy, well, right now he's a little bit nervous as he stands back there. Charlie Bowen waiting for it. Let's see if Kansas can block it again. Here comes the rush. Stiggy gets it off, a high floater. And coming in for the fair catch was Charlie Bowen. What a gutsy play by Bowen as he caught that floater at the 29-yard line. So we'll step aside with 7:09 left to go in the first quarter. The Kansas Jayhawks lead Nebraska 3-0. On the attack from their own 29-yard line. The pitch back to Sands, and he gets a yard or two, and that's about it. Up to the 30-31. Pat Engelbert was coming in from his nose guard position to make that stop. There's Sands' numbers today. We'll keep track and see if he can get to that 1,000-yard mark.
Mike Anderson at the linebacker position also involved in that play. And I'll tell you, this kid is strong. He can bench press over 400 pounds, almost power cleans 400, 391 pounds. He's not that big a person, but he's got tremendous body strength in that 230-pound frame.
2nd and 8. Hillary wants to throw. Wide open is Drayton. He's caught a seam up to midfield. Curtis Cotton played off him, and Kenny Drayton found the seam to the 50.
Well, Cotton obviously was expecting some help from the inside. I mean, he let Drayton just release to the inside, expecting the safety Carmer to be there, and there was nobody there. It's just a tremendous gap for him to take advantage of. Had to be a blown coverage there in the secondary. No inside support whatsoever for Cotton, or else he just thought there was supposed to be, when in fact by the defense called, there wasn't.
George White has replaced Tony Sands in the backfield for KU. Hillary again, wide open is Dwayne Chandler, the tight end. He might go. Chandler, touchdown. Wow.
Boy, that's a clever little play-action pass. He hit his ex-running back, converted running back, Dwayne Chandler, who's now at the tight end position, hit him in the seam, and boy, he just took it a long way. That was a nice design, nice scheme to that play.
50 yards. The longest pass of the season for KU, and it couldn't have come at a better time. Highcloth to tack on the point after. And Kansas leads 10-0. Wait till this score is posted around scoreboards across the nation.
Let's take a look at this play one more time. Chandler, of course, with great speed as he is a converted running back. Fakes the pitch. Defense flows that way. Throws back across the grain to Chandler, who just slipped into a little bit of a seam between the secondary and the linebackers. Now it's just a foot race, and he's got pretty darn good speed for a tight end.
Boy, does he ever. And Hillary knows it's gone for a TD.
That's his 4th touchdown pass on the season. He's run for 10. The touchdown maker continues.
I should say. A chip off the old block for KU, and right now it's 10-0 Jayhawks. What is Kansas seeing in that Nebraska secondary? First, they burned him with Kenny Drayton going to the 50. Then it was Dwayne Chandler going in from the 50.
Well, the last play was just a good scheme, a good design, well-designed play. Nebraska very aggressive with their linebackers pursuing running plays, so he faked the pitch to get the linebackers out of that zone. Then he just got inside on the cornerback, and he split the seam there between the cornerback and the safety for a touchdown. So Nebraska has had some problems defending the pass this year.
So in case you thought that was just rhetoric from Tom Osborne as he came into this game worried about KU, this 10-0 score will indicate that it's more than rhetoric. Eichloff to kick it away. We'll show you who's back deep. It's Turner and Brown, but forget about those guys. Eichloff's just going to boom it over their head and through the end zone, I'm sure. And he does. That one's gone. Way gone. Over the end zone in the air.
That's 3 for 3 today, and he'd done it 12 times coming into today. 12. So now 15 of his kickoffs have gone out of the end zone. Twice he's put it through the uprights as it goes out of the end zone.
And boy, for Kansas to get that wind in the first quarter, it's been huge. 3 plays, 78 yards in that big play. Hillary to Dwayne Chandler, 50 yards. And Hillary so far today, 3 of 4 for Chip Hillary for 74 yards. And Osborne's got to be worried on that Nebraska sideline. McCann on the option, has a seam, and then he is ripped down at the 25. Stubblefield caught him from behind and really ripped him down.
He did. He tried to take his head off. It was a big play. You know, the thing, this Kansas defense is legitimate. And Dave, you know, we saw the Kansas State game. That was a game that Kansas very easily could have won, and also should have won. Then the Virginia game, they had pushed them all over the field, gave the football up 4 times, gave Virginia a couple extra possessions, and lost that game. They could be 7-1 right now.
Absolutely. Right now, they'd love to just get their record to 6-3, wouldn't they? As Lance Lewis runs for some short yards on 2nd down. Now it's going to bring up 3rd and about 3. Chris Malmalonga was in there defensively for KU.
He's giving Gilbert Brown a rest. Unless Gilbert Brown is injured, I don't think he is. I think they're just rotating those defensive tackles in there to keep them fresh, because Nebraska, part of their game plan is they average 294 pounds up front. They want to wear you down into the 4th quarter.
3rd and 3. Brown, the lone setback for Nebraska. McCann, quick drop, no one there. Comes over the other way, looking long distance, and it's out of bounds. Pass was caught by Muhammad, but it was out of bounds. Tim Hill was with Muhammad, stride for stride.
Nice coverage. Hill was there. Basically, Hill used the sideline as his 12th defender. He knew that he was in good position, and the only way the receiver was going to catch the ball was well out of bounds.
And Mike Stiggy on to punt again. Stiggy, you remember the game that we did against Colorado State? He never punted. In fact, didn't punt in the first 2 games. Stiggy punted 7 times against Colorado last week. Colorado also punted 7 times in that great game. But here's Stiggy on for the 3rd time today, and he's had 1 block. Stiggy is a high one, a fair catch by Bowen, and great field position for KU at their own 43-yard line. A shocker so far at Kansas. The Jayhawks leading the Huskers 10-0 in the first quarter. 28. Who is also the offensive coordinator for Nebraska, wants to get that offense coordinated. They've been stuffed the last 3 times. Monty Cousins gets it all the way up to midfield. Big run on 1st down.
And Mr. Loneker at right tackle is extremely fired up. You know, watching the body language of this Kansas football team, Dave, they can't wait to get out of the huddle, get up to the line of scrimmage. Watch the right side of the offensive line operate. 74 in the blue working on 67 in the white. He gets the push, gets him into the 2nd level. I'll tell you, Loneker had a nice block on Ramakers that time and gave his back an opportunity to gain yards. When you pick up 6 or 7 on 1st down, your whole game plan's available to you on 2nd down.
Well, right now there's an official's timeout as Hillary brought him up. Looks like Carmer had a little bit of trouble with some of his equipment. Carmer coming out, and Ernie Beeler will come in and take his place. And there's a look at the offensive coordinator for the Kansas Jayhawks, Golden Pat Rule. His real name is Golden Rule. And right now, the rules are simple for KU. It's a 10-0 lead.
I'll tell you what, whatever you're doing, Golden Pat Rule, keep it going. I'll tell you, you're making some great calls out there.
The give to the fullback. Cousins got a big hole. Cousins busts it down to the 36-yard line of Nebraska. Ernie Beeler, who came in for Carmer, made the hit.
Tell you what, looking at this Kansas offensive line, Dave, as they work their way back to the huddle, jacked up, fired up. Perez pulls out, gets a nice little kick-out block. The guard comes around the horn, makes a nice block. Hempstead, and it's off to the races. You know, this is an indication they're going to the fullback a lot. This is what touchdown Tony Sands does. You know, even though he's not carrying the ball a lot, you have to really game plan against him. It opens up and makes some opportunities available to the fullback.
Cousins goes out. Robin comes back in, and motion goes straight. And the pitch back to Sands. Looking for a hole. Finds one all the way down to the 29. Man, 6 more yards on first down.
Momentum is definitely in the Kansas favor right now. They're reestablishing the line of scrimmage about 5 yards downfield, and Petco is nicked up. Can't get himself up off the field under his own power. But Kansas offensive line is just pushing Nebraska's defensive unit back.
Well, Dave, you've talked a lot about body language, and as they bring them up to the line, you say they can't wait and all that. How important is that for an offensive line to be this juiced up?
Oh, it's big time. I mean, Kansas, their main priority, Dave, was to come out and play well early and show Nebraska that they were going to be in this football game. They did that and more. They get the early momentum on the block punt, and now they've scored the touchdown. Now they've got all the momentum, and Nebraska's on their heels a little bit. Let's take a look at number 99, the white jersey, as he pursues across, takes on the blocker. People fall on the back of his legs as he's trying to come across the top, and just fell up in the back of that ankle. As you can see him dragging it off the foot, he's got some pain to that. He can't even put that right foot down on the ground to walk off.
A senior, a starter for all 3 years, his first 3 years at Nebraska, and a starter again this year. Well, they've had some tremendous linebackers at Nebraska, led by Mike Kroll last year, who was the number 4 pick of the Denver Broncos.
Darren Williams takes his place, Dave, and Darren Williams is a fire plug. 6'1", 240 pounds. He's a shot put with legs.
Yeah, a freshman, too. Sands with a flag down, close to the 32-yard line. Travis Hill with the stop. We'll see what the flag is about. It came from the back.
You think it would be holding.
Dead ball foul, illegal procedure, offense. 5-yard penalty, repeat second down.
So instead of 2nd and 4, it brings up 2nd and 9 for KU.
A little bit of early movement up front by one of the Kansas offensive linemen. I'll tell you, I didn't really see anything, and the flag was kind of late. Usually when there's an illegal procedure or false start, the flag comes right away, and they don't even let the play complete. They don't even allow the offense to finish the play.
A win against either Nebraska or Colorado by Kansas this year. They have Colorado next week, and then the following week they play at Missouri, or versus Missouri here. A win in either one of the games this week or next week would probably get Kansas a bowl game, as Hillary on the scramble has got a first down and more. Hillary, maybe touchdown number 11. It is. Wow.
Unbelievable cut that he made, and then he picked up his wideouts downfield that threw some nice downfield blocks for him, but Hillary made a cut in the middle of the field that just had Nebraska out of position, over pursuing. I think it was Gay on the outside that got a nice block around the perimeter.
Can you believe this? Eyecloth to make it 17-0 KU. He does. Wow, what a start for the Jayhawks. Mason is probably just right now going, can you believe it? We're up 17-0.
Watch Hillary. And now this guy's got some speed, obviously. This is a design pass. This is no quarterback draw. Nowhere to run. Watch the cut right there. He makes a tremendous cut, picks up a block from his tight end. Then watch Gay on the perimeter, number 5. Turns around, peels back, gets the last Nebraska defender off of him, picks up Carmer, and he's into the end zone.
Hillary now with 11 touchdown runs this year. That's the most by a quarterback at KU since Bobby Douglas in '68. He had 12.
And what a cut. I mean, Hillary made a cut that a tailback would make once he was 10 yards downfield. And when that change of direction, field position direction, then he picked up all his blockers.
And you got to wonder about Carmer. He went out with the injury, came back in, and it was Carmer who Hillary ran by. And Mason right now thinking, I'm leading 17-0 against the legend, Tom Osborne.
Hey, he talked to his team yesterday, Dave, and said, we haven't won in 22 years. There's no reason we can't win this football game. Just go out and play football. Forget about the mystique, the aura. Just go out and play football like we're capable of, and we can compete. And he was right.
Well, you think about Nebraska. They haven't lost to a Big 8 team other than Colorado or Oklahoma in 63 straight games. Way back in '78 was the last time.
Oh, he kicked that thing 10 yards, 12 yards past the end zone.
Jeez. Even Eyecloth, the kicker, is fired up.
You're exactly
Osborne
right.
is looking at these scoring drives for Kansas, and maybe he can't believe it either. Only 4 plays, 57 yards. Hillary from 34 yards out And Kansas in the first quarter with still 2:15 to go leads 17-0. Hit, but not before he picks up about 9 yards on first down. It was Don Davis, and also coming in to make a play was Tim Hill. But Brown is running up some impressive yards right now.
Watch Brown's cutback ability, and is he a competitor? Pull the offside guard, offside tackle, little counter, gets himself 7 yards downfield before he has to make a cut. And he is a slashing runner. Not exceptionally big, exceptionally fast, but his total package is extraordinary.
Brown 40 yards already today on 6 carries. Here's what Dave was talking about, the playbook being open. They go to Brown, who's got the first down up to the 35-yard line. Hassan Bailey and Robert Vaughn sandwich him there.
Extremely critical drive, very important drive from the Nebraska offense right now. Kansas obviously all kinds of momentum generated, up 17 points right now. Nebraska has to answer.
Tell you, they got Nebraska's attention, don't they?
Oh, they do. Look at those numbers for Derek Brown. East, that in both cases leads the Big 8, and he's in the top 10 in the country.
And Nebraska as a team averages 6.5 yards per carry on the ground. Brown again picks up about 5 more up to the 40-yard line. It's Steve Harvey and Hassan Bailey who get him there. Tom Osborne talks about his sophomore running back, Derek Brown.
Well, Derek's not as big as a lot of them. He's probably 185 pounds, but he's a tremendous competitor. I think as far as just being a competitive football player, you know, he's one of the finest we've ever had. He's got good balance, good quickness, and an excellent strength for his size. And you know, he's not blazing speed, but very good speed. And so he's had a tremendous year, and we're really proud of him.
And he should be. Brown looking for the first down chain, might have it at the 45. Hassan Bailey stops him there, but Brown just running through that middle of the line of Nebraska right now.
And Nebraska, you haven't seen them abandon any kind of a game plan at this point. They still feel that they're very capable offensively of scoring 17 points or more to get back into this football team. And they're number 2 in the entire country running the football, number 2 scoring, number 3 total yards, mostly by running that ball. That's what they're going to do. They're going to continue to do what they do best, pound the football at you.
First quarter comes to a close, and it's been all KU. The Jayhawks leading the Nebraska Cornhuskers 17-0. Folks, that's not a misprint on your screen. It's Kansas domination so far. Boy, it just makes you feel young to come to a campus on a Saturday afternoon, a glorious Saturday in Lawrence, Kansas. And today we're at Memorial Stadium, and the crowd here is fired up as the Kansas Jayhawks lead the Nebraska Cornhuskers 17-0 after the first 15 minutes. Nebraska with the ball. It is 3rd down and very short, 3rd and inches for the Cornhuskers. Second quarter starts. What does Nebraska need to do to get back in this? I never thought I'd say those words to you, but what does Nebraska have to do at this point to get back into it?
Well, I think they're going to stay with their game plan. They're going to run the football. There's still a lot of football to be played. I don't think you'll see Nebraska panic.
3rd and short. They give us to Derek Brown. He is hit after a gain of about 3. That's a first down. They'll move the chains again. But Paul Friday sent him into Saturday with a hit in the backfield.
Watch the offensive line come off the football. That's just a great cut by Derek Brown. He found himself a crease. That was designed to go over left guard. Stubblefield did a nice job of getting some penetration, so he sliced it between his left tackle and tight end for the first down.
1st and 10 for Nebraska. The ball still on Nebraska's side of the field. They haven't been in KU territory yet. Brown gets him there and then some, and that time it was Brown who delivered the hit at the 45 of KU, and he fell forward to the 43. Doug Terry was the guy that took the abuse of Derek Brown as he came powering in.
It was an unbelievable collision. And that's what Tom Osborne means about Derek Brown, his competitive spirit. Just the isolation play, fullback leading. Watch Derek Brown lower the shoulder, and just knock Terry over backwards. That's a nice hit delivered by a tailback.
5'9", 185, but he really hits you hard. 2nd and only 2. McCann on play action still has it. Wants to go up top, long distance, and the pass intended for Johnny Mitchell. Touchdown Johnny, but it's a little bit too far. Johnny Mitchell already has a dozen touchdown receptions in his 2-year career at Nebraska.
What a physical marvel this guy is. 260 pounds, can run the way he can run. You know, he's matched up against a safety and a cornerback. You know, Terry and Hill have him in double coverage. He's running the football field with them. That kind of speed. He's got great ability. A Keith Jackson type,
yeah,
possibly.
I was thinking the exact same thing. 3rd and 2. Brown close to a first down. Let's see where they mark it. As Paul Friday came in and made the hit, and they mark it at the 41. That will be a first down for Nebraska, just enough. So the Huskers are starting to move the chains now, doing it on the ground.
You look at this Kansas defense, though, Dave. They're in the top 20 in every category. A pass efficiency, total defense. They're number 2 in the Big 8, 14 and 12, respectively, in those 2 categories in the country.
McCann on the option. It's a fumble. Brown might have fallen on it. Doug Terry was in the territory, but I think Brown fell on it for no gain.
Almost disaster there that was avoided. We'll take a look at it as McCann comes to the perimeter. Just puts he's taken out of the play by Davis. He puts the ball out on the perimeter, and almost a big takeaway there for the Kansas defense.
Where Don Davis came in and made the hit that caused that fumble. But a fortunate play for Derek Brown. Only 11 fumbles this year by Nebraska.
They've only lost 6 of them.
Yeah.
They're closing in. I think the school record is 8 lost fumbles for a season.
On the screen. And the pass is complete, but it goes out of bounds. Steve Harvey forcing Calvin Jones out of bounds. And a pickup of only a couple on that play. There's Derek Brown. He's over on the sideline, taking a little rest. He's taking some vicious hits already in this game.
He has. Well, he's a tough cookie boy. He'll be back in this football game as soon as he possibly can.
His toughest hit might have been falling on the turf after that football. He might have caught one in the rib cage and lost his breath a little bit.
Right. When you do fall on the football, a lot of times you will get that kind of injury. The ball is so hard.
Big 3rd down play here. 3rd and 7. McCann rolling out. Pass is complete. John Bostic hangs on despite a hit right away by Tim Hill. And a first down for Nebraska. They keep it alive at the 30-yard line. Hill was right there, but Bostic showing good hands.
This is just a good play all around. The throw by the quarterback, the hands by Bostic, the coverage by Hill. Everything is pretty darn well done. I mean, all you can say is the offense executed it exceptionally well, because defensively, Hill was in tremendous position.
And Bostic made some catch on that 49-yarder last week, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
1st and 10 for Nebraska at the 30-yard line. Calvin Jones, the lone setback. He's got it on the draw. Jones with a big hole. Busts it down inside the 20. Down to the 17-yard line before Paul Friday could stop him. Jones at 5'10", 210. A little bit bigger than Derek Brown.
Take a look at this once again. Jones, a little delay draw. And this is one of the running backs. Watch him below that shoulder for the extra yardage also. Nebraska's got 3 guys that are in the top 8 of the Big 8 rushing. Brown, McCann, and Jones. I mean, they run the football as well as anybody in the country, very obviously.
Now let's see if the Kansas defense can dig in here. The ball at the 17-yard line. Kansas leading 17-0. On the option, McCann has a seam. McCann could have gone for it, but he had his shoe literally ripped off by Doug Terry.
And I'll tell you what, if Lance Lewis makes the block on Doug Terry, McCann may be in the end zone. Lance Lewis tries to make a cut block. Watch number 26 in the white jersey. Watch number 10 in the blue. Throws at him. Look at that excellent effort right there by Terry to leap over Lewis, and he just gets enough of McCann, yanks that shoe off, but gets him to the turf also.
What a play by Terry.
That was just to get over the block by Lewis. I mean, he looked like a high hurdler.
They're measuring for a first down. I think part of this is to give Keith and McCann time to put his shoe back on. And it is just short. I mean, just short. I don't think I've ever seen it that close. It's kind of the angle of the stick as to whether it's a first or not.
I'm not sure if it's a full link in the chain, you know.
Yeah.
I think it might be just a half a link short.
Yeah, really, that's the advantage for Nebraska and Tom Osborne right now, because instead of 1st and goal at the 7, you've got 2nd and an inch at the 7.
That's right. You may find yourself with a 1st and goal scenario inside the 5-yard line, for example, which give you a new 4 downs or 3 downs to operate with and less distance to go. You're right, Dave.
Mason trying to hang on to that 17-0 lead, trying to get his defense to hold Nebraska to a field goal here. Brown back in at tailback along with Lance Lewis. 2nd and an inch at the 7. And the give is to Brown. He's got the 1st and more down to the 4-yard line. So it'll be 1st and goal for Nebraska at the 4. Doug Terry was there along with Sylvester Wright.
I'll tell you what, there's going to be a few bodies in the jacuzzi the day after this game. There's some fierce hitting going on down there, and nobody's given an inch. Terry and Brown have collided, have had some major league collisions already, and we're not even halfway through the 2nd quarter of this football game. There's going to be some sore necks and sore shoulders tomorrow.
Calvin Jones back in as Derek Brown took that hit from Terry. On the option, the pitch out to Jones. He's going to walk in, but wait a minute, we've got a flag down.
You may have a personal foul, a little roughness, yeah, against the Kansas defense working against Keith and McCann. They may have called this on Don Davis possibly, or Robert Vaughn as he came up from his corner position.
Yeah, I think it was Vaughn.
Was it Vaughn that came up to take the quarterback out of the option, and he hit him up in the face, up in the head area after he got rid of the football. I think that's what they're going to call the penalty on, little unnecessary roughness.
Jones with his 6th rushing touchdown on the year. The personal foul. They'll walk that off after the point after.
Right.
Personal foul on the defense. Touchdown counts. Penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
And with the wind at the back of Byron Bennett, that thing's going to be gone. Bennett on for the point after. He is 33 of 36 this year. Remember, though, he had that big one blocked against Colorado to end the 1st half, and then run back by Beaker to CU, and an important 2 points for Colorado and a 19-19 tie there. But Bennett kicks that one through, and Nebraska gets on the board at the 11:15 mark of the 2nd quarter. Nebraska with their first score as Jones takes
back well after the ball is pitched, and that's what the unnecessary penalty was flagged for. Unnecessary roughness, I should say.
Well, a good drive for the Cornhuskers, and all the points that have been scored with the wind. The scoring drive for Nebraska, 80 yards in 15 plays, most of it, if not all of it, on the ground. Took up 6 minutes, and Jones goes in from the 4. And kicking off from the 50 will be Byron Bennett. If he wants to, he can kick this one up into that sea of red up in the stands. Let's see if they maybe try to do something, get a little field position here. A little pooch kick that's going to go down and into the end zone and out of the end zone. Oh, what a big play there by George White. All he had to do really was let that thing go and get out of the end zone. Instead, it bounces off White. Now he's got to recover it, and he does at the 3-yard line. Huge play for Nebraska.
Look, he's about 5 yards deep into the end zone. He takes a look to see if he should run the ball out, takes his eyes off the football, and by doing that to see where Nebraska was on coverage, he lost track of the ball, went right between his arms, and comes out into the field of play. Now he's got to recover it and run. Special teams, once again, dictates field position.
Well, White again, fortunate that he fell on that ball, but these are the kind of mistakes that Mason knows you can't make against the Nebraska Cornhusker team. And some movement now.
That's Perez. They're going to flag the big guy. He started way too early at left tackle.
And the wheels falling off just a little bit on KU right now. They've got to keep their heads about them. with that 17-7 lead. Kansas and Nebraska turning up the volume just a little bit, and that volume really turned up in that end zone as the Cornhusker fans are right down there, and Golden Pat Rule knows that he's got to try to get it out of the end zone now going into the win.
No foul.
Ooh, no foul.
Defense move to neutral zone. Offensive move. No contact.
Well, they said that both movements occurred simultaneously. The defense was in the neutral zone, and Perez moved at the exact same time, so they said it offset, no penalty.
Well, it's the start of bird season. Believe it or not, we have a bird up in our booth.
A big old pigeon. He's hungry, too.
He's trying to get away from those hunters that are scattered all over Kansas. Monty Cousins takes it up to the 5. I've seen it all now.
We're getting dive bombed on up here.
Kevin Raymaker's on the stop.
Well, obviously, what the Nebraska defense wants to do here, Dave, is 3 downs and make Kansas punt the football and get good field position for their offense, respectively. That's the goal now. Kansas obviously would like to generate a first down or 2 and get out of the shadow of their own end zone.
2nd and 8. In motion goes Drayton. Hillary throw from his own end zone, looking for Drayton, and it is picked off, I believe. Yes, Kenny Wilhite with the interception, his 5th of the year.
He came into the game 2nd in the Big 8, 17th in the nation with 4. He'll move up a couple of notches. Good coverage, and this ball just hung up a little bit too long for Chip Hillary. Out of his own end zone, pretty good pass rush. Makes him deliver the ball maybe just a little sooner than he had hoped. The ball hangs in the air and just breaks on the football. Very, very easy interception for Nebraska, and Kenny Wilhite can get that done for you. The pass rush that was provided, Dave, was up front by Perella, who's done that all season long for the Cornhuskers.
A big turnover, and Nebraska back in control at the 35-yard line. Calvin Jones, the lone setback. He has it. And running down to the 31 is Jones, hit by Hassan Bailey there. Boy, Mason said we can't turn it over against Nebraska. That was one of his keys to the game today.
That's right. And he said particularly early in the game, and they played so well early in the game. They were up 17-0 at the end of the first quarter. Look at the turnovers. Look at this is the reason both of these football teams are in the position they're in 8 games into the season. Plus 14 for Nebraska, plus 9 for Kansas. That's going to win you a lot of games. Although Kansas was plus 6 against Kansas State, plus 6 of those plus 9 came in one game and they lost it.
Yeah. McCann hit hard just as he delivers. Boy, was he level. Doug Terry came in and really nailed it. Along with Brian Christian, and William Washington was the intended receiver, but I'm not sure McCann ever saw him.
Yeah, this is a case where you say, geez, why can't the quarterback get this ball there? It's a very short pass, but he short arms the football because of the pass rush provided by Christian. I mean, he just can't follow through throwing the football.
See McCann's numbers today. McCann missed 8 in a row against Colorado and then came back and had a great second half. 3rd and long. And the give is to Lewis. Forget about it. To the 30, and that's it.
They're looking at a long field goal attempt here. That's a great defensive stand up front by Kansas. Everybody just plugged the hole pretty well, and over the top came Gilbert Brown, looking like almost like a 300-pound linebacker on that play. You know, Kansas is doing a lot of twisting and stunning up front, particularly in 3rd and long situations where they may be expecting a pass. That time the stunt fell right into the area, the point of attack of the running play.
And you see Bennett's numbers at long of 37. This one from 48 yards. This would be his longest attempt of the year. That 41-yarder blocked against Colorado to end that game. This one is on its way, and it is good. A line drive that goes just through the uprights. Plenty of distance for Byron Bennett. 10 straight points by Nebraska. All the points with the win. Kansas still hanging on by 7. Cornhuskers with 10 straight points. A lot of poise on this Cornhusker team. And kicking off will be Bennett. And this time, White says, I'm just going to let that one go through the end zone. Forget about trying to put my hands on it. Hey, coming up next week on the Big 8 Game of the Week, Mike Gaddis, who rushed for 191 yards last week, leads the Oklahoma Sooners against in-state rival Oklahoma State. It's the Bedlam Series, so check your local listings for the time in your area here on your local Prime Network affiliate. Well, Kansas will get started on offense again after scoring the first 17 points of the game. They'll have it at their own 20-yard line. The pitch back to Sands. Little room on the outside. Sands cuts it back inside and picks up 11 on first down. Curtis Cotton finally got him down along with Darren Williams, but not before an 11-yard gain.
Steve Carmer, the leading tackler for the Nebraska defense, could not make the play on the perimeter. Travis Hill took an inside charge, and they get around the corner. Carmer comes up, tries to make a play, but the arm tackle's not going to bring Tony Sands down, and a group of Huskers had to meet at the running back to bring him down.
Sands with 3 carries for 19 yards today. Kansas might feel like they're behind, but they're still ahead by 7.
That's right.
And the give is to Cousins. He's got both hands on the football as he picks up about 5 on first down up to the 35. Mike Anderson got him down there along with Pat Engelbert, the nose tackle.
Nice battle going on up front between Ramakers and Lonecker. I'll tell you, those are a couple of Brahma bulls knocking heads every play, and that's inspiring for me to watch a couple of big offensive and defensive lines knock
for you
heads.
now that you're not playing.
Yeah,
anymore.
that's right. No more extended headaches, you know.
That's right. 2nd and 5. Hillary wants to throw, avoids the rush. Now he wants to run and gets it up to the 38 or 39-yard line. Engelbert and Perella on the pursuit.
Well, you got to look at why Engelbert is such a valuable player to the Nebraska defense. Never gives up on a play. Hillary showed some nice athletic ability and an ability to make the first people miss, and Engelbert runs it down from behind.
Osborne calls Engelbert the best he's had at this position since a guy by the name of Danny Noonan.
Yeah, that'll work.
I'm sure it's Noonan now with the Cowboys. Roger Robin, he might have the first down. Let's see where they mark it. I think it's going to be just shy. Now they're marking it at the 40-yard line. Originally they had it marked up near the 41. They've moved it back to the 40, and it's 4th down.
No hesitation by Coach Mason. This is not the type of field position that you take any gamble with, especially considering the fact that the Cornhuskers have scored 10 straight points.
Wyckoff to kick to Corey Dixon. Also back deep for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, Nate Turner. Wyckoff booms a high one. And Dixon calls for the fair catch, an over-shoulder grab at the 22.
Boy, he called that fair catch late. He was rolling the dice thinking, should I or shouldn't I, and made a smart decision.
32-yard punt for Wyckoff.
That was a pretty good indication of how tough that wind is. Kicking in that wind, David, just knocked that ball down.
First time Wyckoff's punted today. So Nebraska will go back on the attack with 6:26 remaining in the first half. Nebraska scored 10 straight. I'll tell you, the wind is such a factor in Kansas. And all the points today with that wind at the offensive team's back.
And Dave, you have to be impressed with Nebraska's poise. They fell behind 17-0. Didn't panic, and you didn't see game plans come flying out of the coaching box here. They stayed with the game plan, ran the football, and scored a touchdown, get back into the game. Special teams, really a mistake by White on special teams, returning a kick. Kansas gave them a field goal opportunity. They took advantage of it, so here they are right back in the game.
Well, Mason was talking about that yesterday. So when you take on a Nebraska and Oklahoma, Colorado, they know they can win. They've had the experience of winning. They don't panic in situations like this.
True.
At the half, now Michigan 45, Northwestern 7.
Calvin Jones stays in at tailback. Derek Brown has been out for a while. He's really been knocking heads with that secondary of Kansas. And Jones skates up to the 25-yard line. Chris Malmalonga stopped him there, but a pickup of 5 on first down.
The guy that I'm impressed with, I was impressed when I saw him play last time. I'm very impressed with his abilities this afternoon. He's number 71 in the blue jersey for Kansas, Stubblefield. He is a load. Very athletic. He runs exceptionally well, 285 pounds, strong at the point of attack. And I'll tell you, he runs everything down. He is a football player in every sense of the word.
2nd and a short 6. McCann on the option. possession. Pitches it out to Jones. He's got some room on the outside. Jones stays on his feet all the way up to the 40-yard line. Robert Vaughn came in and got the first lick, but Jones scrambled ahead another 3 or 4.
Boy, Jones almost ran through that tackle by Robert Vaughn. Actually, he did, but he couldn't maintain his balance. Watch him lower the shoulder on 38 in the blue. Boom. Vaughn gets knocked back about 3 or 4 yards. Right there. Bang. That's a big hit.
I should say. Hit both ways, right?
Almost kept his feet. If he could have kept his feet, it may have been 6.
First and 10, Nebraska, now at the 40-yard line. Now McCann drops back to pass. Stubblefield tripped up. Now he's got his receiver. And going out of bounds is Nate Turner inside Kansas territory at the 47-yard line. Steve Harvey on the coverage. A well-designed play for Nebraska.
Watch the pass rush by Stubblefield. He breaks up the middle, just can't keep his balance, giving McCann an opportunity to buy himself some more time. And when he does that, it's too much time. That's too long a time for anybody to cover a good receiver. And Turner's got all that kind of ability. Big completion.
Another first down for Nebraska. McCann pitches it out to Jones, again with some room outside, and Jones cutting it outside. Jones looking for the end zone. Touchdown, Nebraska. Wow, what a run by Jones. 47 yards.
First guy out in the field celebrating on the sideline without his helmet is Derek Brown, applauding his teammates' effort. I'll tell you what, you got to keep both of these running backs happy. This Calvin Jones has got some wheels. Watch the cut that he makes. Once he takes the pitch to the perimeter, he cuts it up inside. There's all kinds of Kansas defenders there. He just cuts in between all of them. Friday was there. There were 3 blue jerseys, and he just showed an ability to find a seam and exploded.
The second touchdown of the day for Calvin Jones, a redshirt freshman. And now for the tie, Byron Bennett. And we are tied. 17 for Kansas, 17 for Nebraska. Calvin Jones takes it in from 47 yards out to knot the score. One time led 17-0, 17 straight by Nebraska. 2 touchdowns from Calvin Jones, this one from 47.
And watch the cut that he makes. The key, Friday contains it. He cuts right up inside of him. The linebackers aren't there yet. Watch that move downfield. I mean, that's a desperation dive by Robert Vaughn. There's no way. I mean, Jones just froze him to the interior of the field, broke it to the sideline, and he was in there for 6.
Dave, I feel like we ought to do the show open all over again, because this game is starting over at 17.
That's exactly right.
So hello again, everybody. Along with Dave Lapham, I'm Dave Armstrong, and welcome to Memorial Stadium. Today's game starts at 17. And again through the end zone, and Kansas will again take it at their 20-yard line. Nebraska doing it on the ground. A 47-yard touchdown run caps off a 4-play, 78-yard drive in just 1:17.
As they have done all year long, averaging a little over 349 yards a game rushing. That leads the Big 8 and is second in the entire nation. Tell you what, Nebraska can run the football.
I think it's important now for KU to get a drive going, and if they don't score, at least use up the clock and get into that locker room tied. Look at the rushing yards for the Cornhuskers. Wow. Miller wants to throw on first down. Has his receiver, that's Jim New on the outside, and he goes out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Tyrone Leggett was there on the coverage, but Jim New has a first down, it would appear, at the 30.
Nice little spin move by New after he made the catch to break free of Leggett, but he just could not take it for the distance.
Well, first down, Hillary 4 of 6 today, as you see. That 1 touchdown pass, that was huge at the time for KU, and still is, as they're tied at 17. Hillary's had a big day so far. That touchdown to Dwayne Chandler. 50-yarder. Nebraska showing blitz. The pitch back. George White. Big hole. Cuts it back inside. Here goes White. White breaks it outside. He could go. He needs to get by Leggett. Leggett rips him down at the 3-yard line. But wait a minute. There's a flag down way back at the line of scrimmage. This could all come back.
I think it is. I think it's going to come back. I think there's going to be a hold by the lead back. as he tried to take it around the corner. He's going to bring it back.
Disappointing deal for KU.
See if we can find the hold. I believe it was on the perimeter by the lead back, but at this point White's already cut it back inside, and he shows some jets. Man, he takes the thing all the way to the 3-yard line, but all this effort is for naught.
10 yards.
Boy, is that a big play in the game or what?
What a killer.
Huge play. Instead of Kansas having it 1st and goal at the 2, it's Kansas way back now at their own 21-yard line. Or is it going to be the 20-yard line where they mark it? Yeah, at the 20. And 1st down all over again at the 20-yard line, but 1st and 20. Man, that just took the air right out of the crowd here at Memorial Stadium.
3 penalties for Kansas, 30 yards and losses on those 3 penalties. That, though, obviously the most critical penalty of the day.
No question.
You know, I was watching the official.
Mason wants an explanation.
I was watching the official, Dave. It wasn't a late flag. He threw it right away. As soon as the play developed, the official saw what he interpreted was an illegal block and threw the flag. He didn't wait till it had broken through the line of scrimmage to throw his flag. It was done right now.
Now, let's see if we can see the hold.
I wonder if it's 34, Robin, as he leads the play on the outside. They may have called Lonaker for a takedown right there. May have called 74 on the takedown as he was working against Lure.
All right, you're watching that. You're an offensive lineman. You're Lonaker, and you're watching that on the films later in the week.
Oh,
you're right now. You're going, wait, I just took him down, right?
Yeah, in the official's estimation, he took him down with his hands instead of just driving him to the ground, I guess. Tough call.
Yeah, it sure is. And the call, as you mentioned, though, was made right away. And it's 1st and 20. Huge play against KU and for Nebraska. Hillary to throw with time, finds Drayton. Not much gain, a pickup of about 6 yards on the play. Trev Alberts, who was last year's Big 8 Defensive Newcomer of the Year, makes the play.
I think Coach Mason wanted the official to come to the sideline. I think he wanted to know exactly who the call was on. I think he wanted a clarification. You know, none of this phantom. What number was it on? And I want to know. And I'm sure the officials informed him. If this were the National Football League, everybody would know.
That's right.
The officials announce your number.
Three out wide to the right for KU. Hillary across the middle to Drayton. He's got it at the 45-yard line. A 1st down.
Exploiting that area, Dave, between the linebackers and the secondary. And Hillary once again does a good job of it. Just a little 3-step drop and fires right now. Little timing pattern. And the thing you have to do is get the football there before the safeties react, because you can open up a new can of receivers if you don't. He got the football there. Plenty of time for Drayton to not only make the catch, but defend himself and make a cut.
6 of 8 for Hillary for 109 yards and that 50-yard touchdown. Drayton goes in motion. A fake pitch. Hillary looking across the middle again, looking for Chandler, and it was too far. Incomplete. 2nd and 10. But Kansas has accomplished what I thought they needed to accomplish with this drive. They've taken some time off that clock. It's 3:14 to go before the half.
And the other thing that they did that's very positive is they've overcome that penalty. You know, I mean, It was a scenario where now they've at least moved the chains. The completion to Drayton gave them a chance to reload here, and they could have very easily just given up on this drive and saying, oh boy, that penalty, get your dauber down, but they've fought back from it.
Back to Sands, looking for some room, cuts it back to midfield, cuts it inside, and Steve Carmer really hit Sands hard at the 50. 3rd and about 4.
Pretty good job in the perimeter by the corners also, forcing the play back to the inside. Tyrone Bird, I believe it was that time, that turned everything back to the inside and allowing Carmer the opportunity to make the big hit. You know, the one thing that the option does, Dave, teams that run the option, you have to be kind of vanilla in your coverages in the secondary to defend that option.
What do you mean?
Well, you have to be pretty basic. You can't disguise coverages because you're going to be out of position to defend the option. So you have to declare pretty basic schemes in the secondary, or else you're in trouble trying to defend the perimeter in the option.
Hillary now calls timeout. He looked up at the play clock, and it was rolling down to about 4. And he realized he wasn't going to get that audible off, so that's the second timeout taken by Hillary. He has one remaining. 2:25 to go. The thing I've been impressed about, too, with this Kansas drive here is they didn't come out and say, well, let's try to run the ball 3 or 4 times and knock off some time on the clock. Let's go ahead and try to pick up some ground. Let's get some momentum back again if we can.
That's right. They'd like to not only take time, but get points as well.
Well, next weekend on most Prime Network affiliates, Texas Christian squares off with Texas in a live Southwest Conference battle. The Horned Frogs and the Longhorns right here on the Prime Game of the Week. And of course, next week we'll be in Norman for that Bedlam series. Well, it's been Bedlam for Mason today, leading 17-0 at one point. Now we're tied at 17. But still, you'd have to think if we get into the locker room tied at 17 and you went into that locker room not knowing that Kansas had a 17-0 lead, if you would have told Mason yesterday we're going to give you a 17-all tie at the half, he'd take it.
I agree with you. I think this drive is going to be critical as to how it evolves and how it ends up as to momentum as they go into their respective locker rooms.
Big play here on 3rd and 5. Hillary again audibilizing at the line. Hillary looking long distance for Drayton. He's got it. Wow, what a catch at the 21. Perfectly thrown ball by Chip Hillary.
I agree, Dave. That was the key. Kenny Wilhite was really pretty good coverage. I mean, he gets Drayton coming off the line of scrimmage. Drayton gets a step on him, but Wilhite's closing. That ball is perfect. It's the only place the receiver can make the catch. The defender can't touch it.
And forget what I said about Mason being happy with a tie at halftime.
Yeah, really.
He's not happy with a tie. He wants to try to take the lead on Nebraska. I can just hear the stadiums all over the country. And seeing this score on the scoreboard going, ooh. Big play there defensively by Trev Alberts as Tony Sands gets back to the line, and that's about it.
Now the agenda for the Nebraska defense with less than 2 minutes to go in the half is to limit this to a field goal opportunity. If they do allow Kansas to get into the end zone, all kinds of momentum will be swinging their way as they do go to the locker room.
2nd and 10. Clock winding down. Inside about a minute and a half left to go in the half. Kansas with one timeout remaining. Monty Cousins breaks it outside and almost got way outside and gets it down to the 16-yard line. Steve Carmer wrapped him up there.
Well, you can see why Carmer's leading the defense in tackles. A very, very active guy, but I think you get somebody down here from Kansas. That's Emwali.
Scott Emwali is down right now on the field. They call him Half Wally.
He's one of the captains, isn't he?
He's a heifer. Yeah, he is. One of the co-captains on this team. Gives Mason and Golden Rule a chance to talk over a play call here on 3rd and 5. What do you call?
Well, I give my quarterback a two-way go. A quarterback with the athletic ability that Hillary does. Roll him out, give him a run-pass option, put some pressure on the perimeter of the Nebraska defense.
There's Charlie McBride, the defensive coordinator of the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
He's a good one, and he's done it for a lot of years, and his players respond to him.
He was talking to us yesterday. We were trying to get some information on the game. He was talking mostly about his weight loss program. He said when he began coaching, he weighed about 270 pounds. He is well under that now.
Oh, yeah.
And he's lost about 75 pounds. And he said, boy, I'll tell you what I felt is last week in Boulder, all that weight loss really cost me all that insulation.
That's right. He was cold, as everybody was.
Was he ever? 3rd and 5. Kansas has done it through the air. Nebraska's done it on the ground today. Hillary again changing the call at the line. A little bit of movement. A flag goes down. They're going to let the play run. And Matt Gay picks it up and skirts the sidelines out of bounds at the 7-yard line. Let's see if the movement was on the part of KU or on the part of Nebraska.
I think they just got Nebraska in the neutral zone. I think that, Kansas is going to take the yardage here and take this first down, 1st and goal at the 7.
55 seconds remaining. There it is, offsides against Nebraska. The play will stand, and it's 1st and goal for KU at the 7.
And Hillary, you saw he gave a little signal tapping his helmet, telling his receivers the routes to run on the perimeter. Karmer made the final hit on Gabe. But did you see that time Hillary, when he came up the line of scrimmage, tapped the top of his helmet to both receivers? That's just a little code telling him the kind of route that he wants to run. He got a pre-snap read on the secondary, and he got upright and told him, I want you to run these routes, and that's what they did.
Well, the last 2 audibilizations for Hillary have been successful. And it's 1st and goal, KU at the 7. Remember, the Jayhawks have only 1 timeout remaining. Officially, the ball marked at the 6. Cousins down to the 5 and then hits the red wall. Pat Engelbert was the first one to get him, and then Cousins was pushed all the way back. 2nd and goal at the 5, and the clock winding down at 40 seconds, as you can see. And Hillary downs it. Stops the clock with 31 to go.
Well,
gives him one more shot at the end zone.
Right. Perez was upset. He thought that Nebraska jumped early into the neutral zone. He pointed to the Nebraska side of things, but there were no flags on the play.
And you see the timeout situation. 31 seconds. Kansas wants to save that timeout to bring the field goal unit out.
That's right. You don't want to burn that final one and not have enough time to run your team out in the field and line up properly to give it a good effort.
Well, you expect some sort of a play action pass here from Hillary. 3rd and goal at the 5. A little bit of movement. No flags. Hillary then just dumps it into the line. And Mike Anderson was there. No flags on the play. Pass intended for Matt Gay.
Well, Nebraska must be lined up, flexed off the line of scrimmage defensively enough. That initial movement is not getting them into the neutral zone.
I think Hillary thought there was some movement up there.
Yeah, 2 plays in a row. Perez thought there was on the earlier snap. As I say, if Nebraska's lined up off the ball by a yard, their first move won't get them into the neutral zone.
A 22-yard attempt. Eichloff, he's true, and Kansas regains the lead. 2 field goals from that man, Dan Eichloff, and 2 touchdowns for KU have translated into a 2017 lead over the Nebraska Cornhuskers, the 11th ranked Nebraska Cornhuskers, with 23 seconds to go. And look at the crowd on the hill watching this one. Mount Oriad.
Here we go with some military push-ups down there.
These guys are used to this, and they're not even in trouble.
No, that's right. They're going to have those pectoral majors all buffed up by the time this game's over with the way the points are being put up on the board.
I should say 20 now for KU. Remember oh boy, they've got the big artillery out for the Cornhuskers today.
That's one of the offensive linemen, isn't it? I think
that's Perez or Lonecker, isn't it? Man, he's trying to roll over the Tom Osborne-led Cornhuskers. Osborne's team fell down 17-0. They pulled back, tied at 17. Right now, it's Kansas back on top, showing some real intestinal fortitude there to get the lead again.
Boy, once again, remember where Kansas was 4 years ago and where they are now? Man, you got to give Coach Mason a tremendous amount of credit. He and his coaching staff, they're building themselves a program.
Eichloff, short kick, picked up finally at the 34-yard line, and then spinning out is Vincent Hawkins. Hawkins with some room to run.
Get out of bounds.
Past midfield and out of bounds. All the way down to the 38-yard line with 12 seconds to go. And Nebraska has 3 timeouts.
That's the key. Get out of bounds. Save yourself an opportunity. Now Nebraska can run a play or two and use their timeouts to still have an opportunity to kick a field goal to tie this game. Watch him everybody's arm tackling. He spins away from the crowd because nobody put the helmet, nobody laid the leather and the shoulder pads on 38. And he spins away from there and off to the races we go. And the smart thing that he does at the end of his journey, Hawkins gets out of bounds.
And now Mason really wouldn't be happy if they were tied at the half. McCant to throw. Looking long across the middle for Mitchell. He had him wide open. He had him wide open. That was a touchdown if McCant lays it in there.
Boy, they just split the field. They split the safeties by formation, and Mitchell just ran right down the middle. Linebacker lets him go. No safeties to pick him up. They vacated the middle of the field, double covering the outside receivers. Mitchell is all alone, but they cannot connect.
There wasn't anybody within 5 yards of Johnny Mitchell. So a big break for KU there. McCant, with the wind at his back, overthrew him a little bit. Calvin Jones and Lance Lewis. McCann again wants to throw. Again looking for Mitchell. Has him out of bounds at the 30-yard line with 2 seconds to go. And that'll bring the field goal unit on. Remember, Bennett hit one from 48 yards earlier, and it'll be a similar distance this time. And
the problem, or not a problem, he made the field goal, but it was a very low trajectory. And remember, he had a field goal blocked at Colorado the last play of the game. Trying to get the ball there, he has a tendency to drive it low. Now, if Kansas can get some penetration and get a good leaper up the middle, they may get a hand on this and block it.
Again, a 47-yard attempt from Bennett. This will be the last play of the first half. The kick is up, and it is off to the right. No good. Bennett, by the way, thought that field goal was good against Colorado before it was blocked. Well, Mason's got to be thrilled as he goes to the locker room with a 3-point lead. Mason going, come on, we can win this one. Let's get to the locker room. And the Jayhawks leading 17-0. Now lead by 3 at the half. It's Kansas 20, Nebraska 17.
November's the month to remember on
Mason's ready to get back to work. The headset is on. Mason leading the man he calls the legend by 3 at the half. Tom Osborne made some adjustments at halftime along with Mason, and it'll be Kansas with the wind at their back and with the football first to start the third quarter. Byron Bennett to kick off. George White is back deep for KU. Into the wind goes the kick, and White has it at the 12. Hit down at the 28-yard line. Hit by Troy Dumas. You know, Chip Hillary, look at his numbers in that first half. That one interception, but other than that, a flawless first half for Hillary.
He followed it up with over 10 yards per attempt, well over 12 yards per attempt on the ground. And, you know, he had a touchdown rushing and a touchdown passing. He's the touchdown maker.
Yeah, sure is. KU, let's see what they can do now in the third quarter. Movement, getting back, though, is Nebraska. Hillary wants to throw on first down. A little flare-out pattern to Drayton. And a good play for KU to start the second half, all the way up to the 36-yard line, a gain of 8.
Well, Hillary on his pre-snap look saw that the cornerbacks were playing soft. So he took his little 3-step drop and said, hey, if you're going to give us a 7 or 8 yard out, we'll take it. Thanks very much. He wants to bring those corners up a little bit, tighten up the coverage, and maybe give them a little pump and go and get over the top on them.
So they're looking deep if they get the tight coverage. If they don't get the tight coverage, they go with that little flare out.
That's right. If the defense is going to give them that kind of 7-yard gain on first down, he'll say, we'll take it.
Drayton in motion. And the give is to Sands. Nice movement by Sands, and he's still on his feet. Sands pushed out of bounds at midfield. Tyrone Bird finally got him down. Sands might have been off to the races if he gets by Bird.
He looked like a cork coming out of the bottle here. I mean, there were a couple of Nebraska Cornhuskers that had him bottled up. And he just ducked his head. He's not very tall to begin with, and just got underneath him. Got a little bit of leverage generated and squirted through there for 4 yards.
KU up to midfield. That's what Sands has done on the ground today. Sands again. Big hole on the left side, and Sands all the way down to the 42, a pickup of 8.
You know, it's interesting, Dave. Now I guess the Kansas coaching staff feels that they were so diversified in the first half. They've got the defense concerned enough with the pass that they can start to pound their main man in there, and that's what they do. They lead the fullback up inside, and Sands, what's incredible, 165, 170 pounds, gets a lot of his yards between the tackles, just like he did there.
You think KU only punted one time in that first half. The other time they turned the ball over on the interception when they were backed up to their own 4. So KU has moved the ball today on Nebraska. And the give to Cousins. He's close to a first down and should have it. They'll mark the ball at the 39. Perella stopped him, but not before a first down for KU. They move the chains again.
And as we saw, the time of possession, KU having the advantage there. And when you think of the yards that Nebraska ran for, you'd think Nebraska would have a big time of possession advantage. That wasn't the case.
George White comes in to replace Tony Sands at tailback for KU. 1st and 10 at the Nebraska 39-yard line. Boy, at the 39, they're probably already in Eichloff's field goal range with this wind at his back. Eichloff can really boom it. Drayton again in motion. And on first down, Hillary wants to throw and wants to go deep for Drayton. Coverage was put on by Curtis Cotton. The crowd thought there was some interference. Drayton just couldn't catch up with the ball.
Cotton may be the most athletic defensive back Nebraska's got. He runs a 4.4 40. He's got a 40-inch vertical leap. And here now he has an opportunity for the football. He's in position. He can make a play on the ball. He has every right to the ball that the receiver does. The official ruled it that way. Any contact was incidental in his effort to get to the football.
KU trying to pick some cotton there on first down. 2nd and 10 now. The ball still at the 39-yard line. Drayton getting a workout, just going in motion. And the draw play to Sands, and he's going to get a yard. Mike Anderson wasn't fooled. He stopped Sands after a gain of only 1. It'll be 3rd and 9.
Mike Anderson coming into this afternoon's football game, the leading tackler at the linebacker position. He's got the total package. He's got all that body strength we talked about before. Tremendous in the weight room. On top of that, can run a 4.6 40.
Extra wide receiver comes in. Matt Gay. Monty Cousins in the backfield for KU. Sands goes out. Drayton, New, and Gay come out wide to the left. Hillary goes up top again, looking for Drayton and also for Matt Gay. Pass thrown a little bit too far with the wind. Kenny Wilhite was there defensively for Nebraska, along with Tyrone Leggett.
Well, Nebraska came with the blitz. They brought both linebackers up in the line of scrimmage. Watch, 48, that's Anderson coming on the blitz, a little bit of a stunt. And Hillary decides to go over the top to no avail.
So Eichloff will punt now. This really will be just a little poocher for Eichloff with the wind in his back. Takes his time, booms it high, and kicks it through the end zone. That's not exactly what KU wanted there. Eichloff got too much of that one. He wanted to kick it high, but he wanted to kick it before the goal line, and he could not. So Nebraska will get it at the 20.
I think with the leg strength that he has, Dave, I'm not sure he can kick the thing less than 40 yards. I mean, even if he dinks it, especially with that wind.
You see what McCant did in that first half. McCant right now probably thinking to himself, boy, I could have had that one touchdown if I'd have found Johnny Mitchell. But McCant on the ground. Didn't get much in that first half. Let's see what he does in the second half. He had a big second half against Colorado last week when he was 6 of 11 in that second half. Tailback, or is that Calvin Jones? It is. It's Jones in at tailback. So Derek Brown still on the sidelines for Nebraska. Brown really hit hard in that first half by Doug Terry and the rest of the KU defensive team. And there you see Brown with the helmet on over on the sidelines for the Cornhuskers.
He may just have a little bit of a slight concussion. He took some shots to the head in that first half.
Gain of 3 on first down, 2nd and 7. McCann on the option, runs into his own blocker, and then turns it upfield for about 4 yards up to the 27. Jim Scott was trying to get out of McCann's way.
Well, McCann shows that he probably played some high school hoops, because he has the tightest little spin move you're ever going to see as he runs this option, and he made something out of nothing there, really.
Now the crowd trying to stop the Cornhuskers along with the KU defense on 3rd and 3. 3 out wide to the right for the Cornhuskers. McCann looking that way. Nobody to throw to. He decides to run and will have the first down at the 31-yard line. Don Davis came up to get him, but McCann, not finding anyone open, runs for the first.
And I like the call on this 3rd down scenario. You give your quarterback that's got the mobility that McCann does, the run-pass option. puts a lot of pressure on the outside linebackers in the corners. Davis responded, but McCant did generate the first down. They caved the corner in pretty well for him. He decides to run the football. Davis does trip him up, but he's generated the first down.
1st and 10, Nebraska at the 30. On the option, here comes Jones. Big hole on the outside. Busts it through across the 40 to the 41 or 42-yard line. Another first down. The Huskers move the chains again.
Nice blocking up front. Left guard Weaker pulls out around the corner. Watch downfield, number 22, Turner. If he can sustain that block, 22 in the white, this may go a long way. He can't sustain that block, and it has to be cut back up inside by Jones, and the inside-out pursuit gets him.
First down's pretty even, so is the score, but KU leading by 3. Nebraska with the football for the first time this half. Jones, the long setback, has a hole, cuts it back inside Kansas territory to the 44 before Don Davis can wrap him up. Boy, if you're Calvin Jones running behind Derek Brown, you've got to be frustrated. This kid obviously got some talent.
It's a challenge for the coaching staff to keep both these guys happy. He's got eyes in the back of his head. Look at the innate ability he has to cut back against the grain. He can just determine. He has a sixth sense of when the defense linebackers are over pursuing, and he makes them pay for it.
Jones with 111 yards today. Another first down for Nebraska. Jones again. And he's got about 121 now. Pick up of 10 more down to the 34.
What this gives you is Brown has of course been the workhorse. He's had the bulk of the work. But Jones has got some fresh legs. Now the Nebraska offensive line just trying to take control of things up front. Look at that gaping hole. It's about a 6-yard crease that Jones has to take advantage of. This 294-pound average up front offensive line starting to establish some excellence up front.
Not a bad average, huh? 12 yards a carry.
That dog will hunt.
Yeah. That dog is hunting all over Kansas today. You hear the shotguns all over the state. McCann rolling out. He's got Jones. They couldn't contain Jones on the outside, and he busted down to the 22-yard line. Jones running hard for Nebraska.
Friday, number 14 in the blue gets caught between a rock and a hard place here. Watch as McCann comes out on the perimeter. Friday doesn't know, is the linebacker Davis going to take and contain McCann enough? Well, it ended up that he did, and he was able to pitch the ball out on the perimeter to Jones, who took advantage of it.
What adjustments do you make if you're KU to stop that perimeter running?
Yeah, they just didn't get there. I mean, it was just a physical problem on their end of it.
And then Jones goes back up through the middle, and nice yardage on first down. Jones gets it down to the 14-yard line before Hassan Bailey could wrap him up.
You know, you can do some things, Dave, like be creative on the perimeter and have your cornerback take the quarterback and your linebacker take the pitchman and change up responsibilities instead of a linebacker taking the quarterback and the cornerback taking the pitchman. But you better make sure that you've got your assignments down, because if you have two guys taking one, sometimes if you try to be too cute, you outthink yourself and you have a brain cramp. Two guys take the quarterback, nobody takes the pitchman.
This drive started at the 20 of Nebraska, and it's all been on the ground. Jones with a flag down. Might have been some movement by Steve Harvey as he jumped a little bit early. Now, let's see if that was Harvey that was jumping there.
I think it was
it's
Kyle
going to be
Moore.
Offside. Yeah, it might have been Kyle Moore. You're right.
Yeah, I think it was. He got in that neutral zone in a hurry.
Trying to anticipate that count. So that's a first down for Nebraska now. First and goal right at the 10-yard line.
And like you said, Dave, trying to anticipate that snap count, that's when you get into trouble every time as a defensive lineman. Never trust the quarterback. He'll get you with that voice inflection, that hard count, and he'll get you on a string and pull you offside every time.
Defensive coordinator Bob Fellow for Kansas as the Jayhawks trying to hold here. First and goal. There goes Jones. Third touchdown. Yes! Touchdown, Nebraska.
Confusion that time on the outside between Harvey and Friday. Who's got the quarterback, who's got the pitch man? Nobody ends up taking the pitch man, and you cannot leave Jones all by himself.
Jones with his 3rd touchdown of the day.
Watch, both guys end up taking McCann. Nobody takes Jones, the pitch man on the perimeter, and he takes it into the end zone.
And for the first time today, Nebraska has the lead. Bennett on for the point after. And with 8:46 to go, the Nebraska Cornhuskers, who once trailed 17-0, now lead 24-20 over the Kansas Jayhawks.
Red 28! I've never heard anything like it.
Welcome back to the University of Kansas in Lawrence. A beautiful day, a great Saturday afternoon for football, and we've got a great game going here between Nebraska and Kansas. The Cornhuskers have just taken their first lead of the game, 24-20 over the Kansas Jayhawks here in the 3rd quarter. And that was the first touchdown into the win today. Eichloff had a field goal into the win. White takes it and fumbles it at the 7. Remember, White fumbled one earlier today, and again Kansas will be stuffed at the 10-yard line. That's the 2nd time today that George White has had trouble hanging on to the football.
Take a look at White once again. Now he's concentrating on the ball. He just does not take control of it. And now it's one of those crazy bounces. He knows he's in trouble. He's going to get the pigskin corralled. Now Carmer says that's the end of it. You're not going anyplace.
There's a look at Calvin Jones. Look what he's done on the ground today. And 72 yards of that was in that last touchdown drive by the Huskers. Nebraska took it and ran 80 yards and ran 80 yards. No passes on that drive. Sands takes it up to the 15-yard line before Pat Engelbert could stop him. Let's look at that scoring drive for Nebraska. 9 plays, 7 of those by Calvin Jones. 72 of the 80 yards by Jones, and he takes it in from the 9.
Yeah, I guess McCann was involved in the other 2 carries on quarterback keepers, and it was the Calvin Jones show on that drive. He showed a lot.
And Derek Brown classily comes over and gives a hug to Jones. Brown, who has not played in the second half, hasn't played much in the second quarter today, left the game with 75 yards and perhaps a slight concussion. We're guessing on that. He was hit pretty hard by Doug Terry. Hillary wants to go up top to Drayton, and a little bit too far. The coverage from Tyrone Leggett. Drayton was inside of Leggett, and if the pass is on target, he's got it.
Well, they got him in the right coverage because Leggett has got man-to-man coverage. He's got no help to the inside, and he knows it. He's just running with Drayton. Drayton does have the inside position, but cannot hook up. And really have the right pattern called.
All the quarterbacks today have had trouble throwing with the wind, throwing it too far. We had that pass in the first half where McCann overthrew Johnny Mitchell.
Right.
Hillary now 1 of his last 6. This could be a huge momentum play for KU. And they go up top to Jim New, and too far. Again, it's Leggett on the coverage. And Hillary knows he's just too far on those receivers.
You know, one thing that Hillary is getting is all kinds of time. Look, nobody anywhere near him. He thinks he might have something. Do I? Oh, geez, no, I don't. But as you can see, there's nobody even sniffing quarterback Hillary. His offensive line is giving him all kinds of time to throw the ball like he did just then to New.
So Eichloff to punt from his own goal line. Corey Dixon is way back at his own 35-yard line. Eichloff boots one that's going to take a Nebraska hop and then be batted out of bounds at the 45-yard line. 7 minutes, 38 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. Nebraska with the football in good field position when we come back, leading by 4. Well, there's a look at Mount Oriat here at the University of Kansas. A good crowd on hand to watch this great football game between the Jayhawks and the Cornhuskers. Nebraska with a football at their own 46-yard line. 1st and 10. It's Jones again to midfield and down at the 50-yard line by Gerald McBurrows.
Well, by changing things up a little bit, brought Lance Lundberg, the big tackle, all the way around the horn from his left tackle position. And they've been running the option. Now they figure that they'll just give him a change of pace and run a little counter. There's the big 300-plus pounder. A little bit disturbed that he didn't get quite as effective a block as he was hoping for.
Corn-fed guy out of Wausau, Nebraska. Jones, a little hesitation, a first down and more as he sheds tacklers all the way down to the 39-yard line. Jones having his biggest day in a Cornhusker uniform.
Well, you know, the Nebraska offensive line is so big. Watch him come off the ball. Now he sustains his block drives. He just can't separate. Just can't separate from the blocks quick enough to make a tackle. And you got a guy like Jones who, you know, gets through the crease before they can arm tackle and do things like that. 264 yards rushing for Nebraska.
164 of that to Jones. Nate Turner on the reception down to the 34-yard line. A pickup of 6 on first down.
You know, I said earlier in the first half when Kansas took a 17-0 lead, I was impressed with Nebraska's patience and discipline. And Kansas took that 3-point lead at the half. The momentum was in their favor. Nebraska methodically came out in the third quarter and has recaptured that momentum. And now they're just sawing wood. I mean, they're out there just doing what Nebraska usually does.
McCant, 8 of 16 now on the day. 2nd and 4. Jones on the draw. Big hole. Huge hole. Russ McCullough, the bus from Missouri, might have been able to roll through that hole.
Boy, I tell you, that was amazing. Both the defensive tackles took outside charges. And when they did that, it's almost like Nebraska was tuned into the Kansas defensive coordinator's headset, because they ran the ball exactly where they should have, exactly where the defensive tackles vacated. That's huge open.
Look at that, 16 rushes, 175 yards.
Way over 10 a pop. That'll work.
He's averaging 6.7 a pop on the year. That average will go up. Lance Lewis gives Kansas defense some hope for gaining only a couple.
You know, the thing about Jones is he's 8th in the Big 8 in rushing with a limited number of carries coming into today's game.
Right.
He'll work his way right into the top 5 now in the Big 8.
367 yards on the year coming into today. He's got, what, about half that total?
Yeah.
Today.
Incredible.
Eric Brown better recover quickly.
Fresh legs.
2nd and 8. McCant keeps it, and McCant has a big hole to the end zone, looking for it, down at the 1-yard line. Tim Hill saved the touchdown. McCant takes it all the way down to the 1.
I think it was Wiegert that threw a nice block on the linebacker Harvey, and McCant cut it right up underneath that, right inside of that block. It was Wiegert that tried to get Harvey down to the ground, got a good enough piece of him where McCant said, boy, I cannot take advantage of this opening. He did.
And Bob Fellow in his 4th year at KU trying to figure out a way to stop this big red machine. Jones looking for his 4th touchdown of the day, won't get it on that carry. 2nd and goal at the 1.
You know, it looked like he was debating going up and over, but the linebacker got so much penetration that he just couldn't do it.
Paul Friday making the stop. 2nd and goal at the 1. 4:15 clock running, 3rd quarter. Nebraska leading by 4. The give to Jones, trying to go up over the top. Touchdown. He made it. His 4th touchdown of the day. Unless something is going on in the other 3 Big 8 cities today, you're looking at the Big 8 Offensive Player of the Week, Calvin Jones.
Boy, it's got to be. You're right about that, Dave. Watch the offensive line get a surge. Kansas does not get enough penetration in the middle where the play is designed to go, allowing Jones to go up and over. And the reason that he can go up and over is that the offensive line reestablished the line of scrimmage toward the goal line.
Calvin Jones now with 9 touchdowns on the year, 4 of them today. Bennett on for the point after, and it is good. 2 straight touchdowns by Calvin Jones. And Nebraska now with an 11-point lead with 3:57 to go in the third quarter.
Now you can draw the roundest circles. Perfect.
He's got some oranges in his hand. It could be Orange Bowl bound Nebraska. If they can win the rest of their games and stay ahead of Colorado in the ratings, it will be the Cornhuskers in the Orange Bowl on New Year's Day for Tom Osborne, a return trip to Miami. Look at Jones and his numbers. He talks to Derek Brown, and Jones saying, hey, this is fun. Now I know, now I know what you've been doing all year. This is fun.
For real. It looks like they're going to have to tee up the ball with the finger here.
And we have a change. Now it's Chaka Johnson. George White is not in the backfield as he has dropped 2 today. So White has been demoted by KU. He is not on the return team right now. And up into the wind, a good kick taken down by Charlie Bowen. It was Charlie Bowen who takes it up to the 26-yard line. Ernie Beeler making the stop. A scoring drive for Nebraska. Another 80-yard drive. Man, yeah, these guys are something. 9 plays, 80 yards, 359. Jones' 4th touchdown of the day. Only 1 pass on that drive.
Big red machine. That offensive line starting to establish dominance up front. 294-pound average, like we said, and wear you down as you get into the fourth quarter of the games.
Bowen coming over, holding his hand. Mason checking him out, seeing how he is. Cousins trying to give KU some room now. Gets it up to the 31-yard line. Pat Engelbert stops him there. Now let's see if Kansas can come back. It was Nebraska coming from a 17-point deficit to regain the lead, and now let's see if Kansas can show their stuff on offense.
That's right, and it's only an 11-point game.
Right.
I mean, if they don't have to junk their game plan, what has worked so well, and I'd like to see them maybe throw underneath a little bit instead of trying to go for it all over the top with regularity. Maybe check down and go to the running backs out of the backfield and crossing patterns underneath.
Drayton goes in motion again. He's going to be in motion in his sleep tonight. Tony Sands, not much, maybe a yard. Farrell and White wrapped him up, and it's going to bring up 3rd and long.
It's not going to be easy, though, because this Nebraska defense now feels that they've taken control of this football game as a group, not necessarily on the defensive side of the ball, but now they find themselves with an 11-point advantage after having been behind by 17 to 28-point swing like that to start to build some natural confidence.
Sands having a pretty good day. 5.3 average for Tony. 3rd and 5. He comes out. Passing situation. Hillary goes up top again, and what a grab! Jim New gives KU new life.
I like it. Yes, he did. And what happened there, the receiver got into the seam between the safety and the corner. Tyrone Bird just could not get there. Watch him try to hustle from the middle of the field. He's got the inside help. He can not get there. And I'll tell you what, his cornerback, Wilhite, is going back to the huddle saying, hey, come on. I need you on that inside. I can't cover all that ground by myself in this zone defense.
Now KU back in business at the Nebraska 37. And the crowd back into it here in Lawrence. Guess who's in motion? Roger Robin busts down to the 31-yard line. Or was that Cousins? Yes, Monty Cousins. Gets down to the 31. Tyrone Bird stops him there, but a pickup of about 7 yards on 1st down. And Bird comes out.
Well, I'll tell you, the Kansas Jayhawks, it looks like maybe a little bit of a stinger problem for Bird. Looks like he may have pinched a nerve a little bit up in that shoulder
neck area. What's that feel like?
It's like a burning sensation. It's like somebody lit a match in your neck and it just burns all the way down your arm to your fingertips.
Yeah. 2nd and 3. Hillary on the play action. Again going through the middle, looking for Drayton, and it's overthrown again. That was double coverage that time, though, on Drayton.
That's right. They get the help in the middle that they were looking for.
Well, they're picking on the middle, though, aren't they?
They are. They think that's the soft spot to hit between the linebackers and the safeties in the middle of the football field. And That one, there was an opportunity there, just a little bit overthrown for Drayton. But I'll tell you, Kansas has responded to the challenge, Dave. They
absolutely
fallen down by 11, and they said, hey, we're not quitting. We're in this football game, and we're going to continue to be in this football game.
3rd and 3. They are in Eichloff's field goal range, but they want more than that. Sands looking for the first down yardage. It's going to be close. Travis Hill on the stop, and they're going to mark it at the 27-yard line. This is going to be close enough for a measurement.
I don't think Coach Mason likes the spot very much. He's not all that particularly thrilled on the sideline.
Good call, though, on 3rd and 3. And if it's short, oh, look at that. Second time today we've seen it that short.
It's a
now what do you do? 4th and that much. You kick the field goal, which is definitely in Eichloff's range, or do you go for it?
I think you got to go for it. I don't know. We said earlier against Nebraska, put points on the board, but I think right now with only 1 minute and 27 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter, you got to sustain this drive and at least get close to field goal range or hopefully score a touchdown.
And the crowd wants them to go for it. They got their wish. Mason thinking along with you, Dave, as KU will go for it on 4th and an inch. Double tight ends, Chandler and Vang. Hillary trying to quiet the crowd. Hillary over the top. He's got it. First down, Kansas. Move the chains. Mason thinking, all right, we got 1 against Nebraska. Why couldn't we have gotten 1 out of 3 against K-State?
That's right. I bet that was a very difficult decision for him to make. But I think it was the proper one. The time remaining in the game, the score, the fact that his team's playing well. Go for the gusto. Gutsy call by Coach Glenn Mason.
I like it.
I like him a lot. I think he's one of the better young coaches in college.
We've had a great year, haven't we? Going around the Big 8. Every coach has been so cooperative this year. It's really been a lot of fun.
They've been fantastic. I'd send my son anywhere here in the Big 8 to play football.
Hillary's going to be sacked. First sack of the day. David White came from behind and got him.
Well, that's David White's 5th sack on the season. Came into the game as the Cornhusker leader, and he pads that lead. Hillary, a little 3-step drop, sets, nowhere to go. Basically, it's a coverage sack because he was ready to deliver the football long before White got there. But the Nebraska secondary was up to the task when Hillary pulled it down. It was over.
You may be looking at Dr. David White someday, a pre-med student. Well, the clock winding down in the 3rd quarter. Kansas with only 20 seconds with the wind at their back. Hillary again checking off at the line. Wants to go deep. He's looking for New. A little shoving match going on between New and Tyrone Leggett. No flag. And it's going to bring up 3rd down and 12.
Once again, in the official's interpretation, Leggett has as much right to the football as the receiver does. As long as he's got his head turned toward the quarterback trying to make a play on the ball, any contact they deem incidental at that point. He has a privilege or right to field position himself, and as long as he's going for the ball, it's okay.
3rd and 12. 3 out wide to the left. Here comes the blitz. Hillary sacked way back at the 35 by Curtis Cotton.
Oh, you got to give Charlie McBride, defensive coordinator for Nebraska, a lot of credit for that call.
And a timeout taken by Kansas. They want the wind at their back for this field goal. Now there's no time on the clock. Kansas saying we want a 2nd put back, and that's what they're going to get. So Kansas will get 1 second put back on the clock. This was a key timeout for KU because they'll have a 25-mile-an-hour wind at their back as they attempt what would be probably about a 52-yarder.
And the Nebraska sideline, the coaching staff went crazy when the official did grant the timeout. They felt that the quarter had expired, but every official determined that Kansas did get it called when there was 1 second remaining. But what a great call by Charlie McBride. I mean, he came with the all-out blitz at the proper time, and he's going to put a little pressure on Eichloff now.
All right, Eichloff this year had a 48-yarder. Last year against Kansas State, he had a 58-yarder. With the wind at his back, this 52-yarder is in range.
Most definitely.
This to pull Kansas back to within 7. The spot is good. The kick is up. It is long enough, and it is good.
Ooh.
Eichloff with a 52-yarder to end the third quarter.
He cleared that by a good 6 yards, too. That was a heck of a kick.
So the Kansas Jayhawks are still alive as we head to the final stanza. Who's going to write the final ending to this one? Nebraska 7. The
stop at the 32-yard line. Kansas 34. Again.
redshirt freshman, but Calvin Jones is rewriting the Nebraska record books for his rushing stats today, and that's hard to do with all the rushers they've had in Nebraska history. Big play for Charlie Bowen as he gets it up to the 35-yard line. Abdul Muhammad with the stop. Bowen gets it all the way up to the 35-yard line.
Watch the wedge. Watch the wedge operate. Look, everybody's colliding. They form a nice little crease for Bowen to take advantage of. And as good kick returners do, no hesitation. He goes north and south right now.
Bowen, the guy that took the place of George White on that kickoff return team. 1st and 10, KU. The ball at the 35-yard line. 10.5 minutes remaining. Hillary, little screen pass to White. White eludes a tackler. What a play by White, and gets it down inside Nebraska territory at the 43-yard line.
Once again, Nebraska comes with the blitz. They bring Anderson, and Hillary, they pay because Hillary dumps the ball off in the area that Anderson vacated on the blitz. And White makes a nice run. Now remember, White had that run all the way down to the 3-yard line that was nullified by a hold in the first half. White's just had problems fielding kickoffs.
White still in there, tailback. On 1st and 10 for KU. Again, it's straight in motion. And the pitch back to White. Not much doing. Coming up and making a big play defensively there for Nebraska was number 98, Darren Williams.
Darren Williams is a linebacker that Coach McBride is very, very excited about. He said, this guy will explode on you. 6'1", 240 pounds. Football is a game of leverage. You get under the other man's pads. You almost have to come off the football on your knees to get underneath his pads at 6'1", 240.
Yeah. 2nd and 9. Pitch back to White. Still on his feet, but not for long. Williams again was there, and Carmer was the first one to touch him.
That's right. Carmer kind of took some of the steam away, and then the big fella finished up. Option in the perimeter. Hillary has to get rid of the ball right now. Defended pretty well by Nebraska. There's Carmer's attempt. And the big boy comes in, gets an arm, and wraps him, takes him to the ground.
That's some of the difference on that Kansas option. Hillary releasing it so early where McCant's been able to hang on a long time.
That's right. I think McCant's just a lot more comfortable, you know, on the perimeter running the option. That just comes from repetition.
3rd and 11. The fake pitch. Hillary still has it. His receiver, Drayton, fell down.
Hillary had to get rid of the ball quicker than he had hoped. Bruce Moore, number 90 in the white, good protection. Let's watch Drayton's pattern. As he goes to make his cut, he stumbles, and a turf monkey came up and grabbed his big toe and brought him right down.
So Kansas goes off again, but picked up by that one big first down by White. Now Eichloff in to punt again. John Bostic, the wide receiver, is back to get it. And Eichloff booms. That's into the wind, folks. That's an impressive punt by Dane Eichloff, but Nebraska will get it at the 20-yard line again. 8 minutes, 36 seconds to go. Mason not real happy with Eichloff, saying, come on, we need more than just the ball on the 20 for Nebraska. We need to pin those guys back at the half-yard line.
Dave, what do you do if you're Coach Osborne now? Who do you start at tailback next week? I mean, you can't sit this kid down. You know, how do you sit Calvin Jones down after the day he had today? But Derek Brown's been the guy that's gotten you this far. What do you do? Nice problem to have, I guess.
I should say. Osborne, knowing that he's had this ace in the hole, Calvin Jones, who rushes it up to the 28-yard line, and a new quarterback for Nebraska. Mickey Joseph takes the place of Keith and McCann. Joseph was the guy that was the starting quarterback last year for Nebraska, who hurt himself in that game against Oklahoma. Many thought he wouldn't come back from that severe laceration. He did, but McCann just took the job away.
It just took Calvin Jones out of the game to a big ovation from the Nebraska fans. Dave, he's done for today.
Well, maybe. He needs one more yard to break the single-game rushing record at Nebraska. He has 284. George Achola is now in at tailback for Nebraska. He has 284. Rozier had the record at 285.
Boy, I bet if Coach Osborne realizes that, here he comes.
Yeah, back
in the game.
Get him one more at least, huh? The day he's had today.
I'd say let him go for 300. What the heck? Might as well make it a nice round number. Let him get 3 bills.
You're obviously not on Coach Mason's coaching
no,
staff.
No, that's true.
Let's see. Who's going to be our player of the game?
Yeah, right. This is a tough call.
Boy, it is. $7:55 left to go in the ball game. Again, Calvin Jones, we're charting his progress today. 6 touchdowns. He needs one more yard. And this could be it right here. No, he loses a few. Oh, he needs more yards now. Malmalonga got inside. And that's the first time today that Jones has been thrown for a loss.
He checks back out now. He's alternating on a play-by-play basis, but gets penetration, does the big guy Malmalonga, and takes his legs right out from under him.
Back to 282 yards. By the way, this will be, unless Derek Brown comes back and we don't expect him, this will be the second straight game that Derek Brown does not rush for 100 yards.
Right.
And finished the day with 75. Joseph on the option, pitches it out to Achola, who gets it up to the 37-yard line. And it's going to bring up third and about 4 or 5.
Well, look at how productive that tailback position's been, though. Derek Brown had 75. Couple that, add that onto the yards that Jones has come up with. I mean, way over 300 yards rushing out of your tailback position. Nebraska running the football exceptionally well today.
And Jones comes back in.
And this Kansas defense had been pretty decent against the rush, only giving up 117 per game. Second in the Big 8, 22nd in the country. Nebraska took it apart there.
There goes Jones. That should do it. Calvin Jones, a first down. And now he has for the day, after that carry up to the 43-yard line. Jones will have for the day 280. We're still calculating. Got to get that calculator out. We're waiting for the official word from downstairs. 288 on the day.
Jeez. And 75 by Brown. Well over 350 yards by your tailback. Jeepers.
And not only that, but only his 26th carry of the day, or 25th carry. 288 yards, 6 touchdowns. The 6 touchdowns rushing is a record. The 288 yards is a record. Rozier did it with 31 carries. Nate Turner on the catch. Joseph completes the pass to the 49-yard line.
Let's take a look at Joseph here. He rolls to his left, sets his feet. Rolling to your left and throwing on your right-handed quarterback is a tough thing to do. All you have to do is get 1 foot in bounds, remember, in college football, and that's done.
You want to know what Jones is averaging per carry?
What is it, 14?
No, 11. There he goes again. Just adding on. He's closing in on 300 yards today, down to the 44. Boy, Glenn Mason's probably saying to himself, oh, great, the kid picks today to have his career day.
Unbelievable. He's averaging over a first down every time he runs the football.
294 yards on the day now for Jones.
What does Nebraska rush for overall? It's got to be close to 400.
It's over 400.
It's got to be approaching 450.
We'll figure that one for you, too. Calculators are, right now, they're smoking.
They're humming away.
Pass complete. Corey Dixon. Down to the 35-yard line. Going to be a yard shy of the first down marker. Right now, the rushing, 434 on the day. They came in averaging 349.
Right. And, you know, once again, consider how this game started. They were down 17 to nothing at the end of the first quarter. So all this basically has happened in 3 quarters.
Impressive.
Poise.
Joseph eludes the tackle and then eats it at the 31-yard line. That'll be a first down, though. And Dana Stubblefield was coming behind Joseph but couldn't catch up.
You know, Dave, we said before, that's where the experience. Nebraska's been there before. They've been to bowl games every year. I mean, there's a lot of senior leadership on this team, and even when games don't get started the way Nebraska would like them to get started, they can right themselves and continue on like they did
Another
today.
new quarterback, Tom Hawes, in at quarterback, replacing Mickey Joseph. Osborne able to rest his starters now. Pitch back to Achola. Big hole. Achola looking for the end zone. It's a touchdown for Nebraska. Achola with his first of the day, his second of the year. And it doesn't seem like it matters who you put in back there.
And you know, everybody's new up front too. This is the reserve offensive line. And look at the gaping hole that Achola has to work with. And he tight ropes the sideline into the end zone. Now, a program like Nebraska, your second and third team players were high school All-Americans, and they just keep bringing them on.
All right, now we've got Tom Sealer is on to kick the point after. They've even given Bennett the day off. Tom Sealer. Remember, this all started Kansas 17-0. Sealer kicks it up and good. And I can't even believe the score as I read it. 35 points in the second half for NU. And through the end zone, Kansas will have it on the 20.
You know, it's amazing. Everybody's going to look at their sports pages tomorrow and just take a look at the score and say, oh, Nebraska just must have just dominated from the word go. I mean, this game has just taken a dramatic turn in the second half. Remember, Kansas had a 3-point lead at the half.
Frederick Thomas, the new quarterback now for the Kansas Jayhawks, a freshman out of Houston, Texas. Down at the 21-yard line. Travis Hill hauled him down after a gain of about 1.5, we'll call it 2. 2nd and 8. And the clock is winding down now near the 4-minute mark in the fourth quarter. And you're right, though. Nebraska, everybody's going to look at this score.
Sure.
You know, I think what will happen is if people were in the stadiums all around the country, they'll see that 17-0 and ooh, and 2017 Kansas at the half and ooh, and then all of a sudden they'll see 52-23 and they go, ah. George White to the 25, and that's it. Stopped by Ernie Beeler, and it's 3rd and 5. Boy, that machine, it really worked. It became a 12-cylinder in the second half.
Boy, it sure did. And, you know, you think when you fall behind 17-0 and your offensive attack is based on the ground game that you're going to be in trouble. You might have to open it up and start throwing the football, but the Nebraska coaching staff has so much confidence in their ability to run the football. They stayed right with their game plan and just ground it out.
And this will help Nebraska's ranking, wouldn't you think?
Oh, it won't hurt it a bit.
That's one thing they want to do is stay ahead, and there's another pickoff. This one by Kenny Wilhite, his second of the day. Wilhite with his second pickoff of the day and his 6th of the year. He is the pickoff specialist for the Cornhuskers.
I think he's got a little bit of injury as he ran it back. I hope he didn't blow a knee out, but he's just playing center field, reading the quarterback's eyes. They're in his zone coverage, and he's the lurk man, the lurking safety, and he did his job, picks it off and takes it back. And at the end of the run back, as he makes a cut, right there, it either rolled an ankle over, hopefully it wasn't his knee, but he's in pain. He
sure is.
And it wasn't due to any collision. It was just injury from planting on the turf.
Tried to make a cut, and he made a cut too sharp, and let's just hope it's nothing serious for that young man. 2 minutes, 56 seconds to go in this one.
I'm looking over here at a former teammate of mine, Tough Tony Davis, from the Cincinnati Bengals, one of the teams that he played for professionally. I'm trying to get a little indication here from Tony. Yeah, that's right. That's when we were both young, Tony. You're right.
Long time ago.
Long time ago.
Is that before face masks?
Yeah, right. Well, looking at Tony.
What am I saying? You guys both weigh about 300 pounds. I'm going to get killed.
Looking at Tony's face and my face, you think it might be before face masks, but nah, it wasn't. We were there. We were there with the good stuff. Tell you what, now that guy Tony Davis, man, he'd stone you. That was a hitter extraordinaire. He was a hitter.
Tough, Tony. He earned that nickname.
Big time.
Chola stays in, so that will do it for Calvin Jones today. 294 yards rushing on the day for Jones and 6 touchdowns. And the pass is complete to Darrell Lisey, and Lisey takes it down to the 15-yard line. That stops the clock momentarily to move the chains. Will Nebraska try to score again? Remember, they've got to worry about rankings as well.
That's right. And that's why, you wonder, hey, gee, call the dogs off. Why are you throwing the football at tight end at this point in time? But, Nebraska, and they've got guys in there that they'd like to get a little experience, too.
Tom Hawes at quarterback. They want to give him some experience. Mickey Joseph as well. Not that Joseph needs a lot more experience. He just needs repetitions. And Robert Glantz, the third-string fullback, gets the call down to the 15-yard line. The clock is moving now near the 1-minute mark, as you can see. So this will improve Nebraska's Big 8 record to 4-0-1, 7-1-1 overall. Kansas will fall to 5-4 on the year and 2-3 in the Big 8. But for Glenn Mason, I'll tell you, he's got to be proud of the way his team started off in this game, leading 17-0 and really giving the folks from Lincoln a scare. Achola with a big hole on the right side. Achola, his second touchdown of the day, and the 8th rushing touchdown of the day for Nebraska.
Boy, the Red Sea parted on that one. I'll tell you what, the Red Machine parted the Red Sea. It was unbelievable. I think, Dave, there's no question in my mind that you could have taken that ball and hucked and bucked right into the end zone. No doubt about it. I mean, let's take a look at this hole. It's just an isolation, fullback leading up the middle on the linebacker, gets just a tiny piece. Achola doesn't need it. He's got so much room to operate with. He's got a 10-yard hole. He breaks it to the perimeter, takes it into the end zone. That is just dominant blocking up front.
Sealer on for the extra point. This to make it 59-23 in favor of Nebraska. And it is good, but there's a flag down.
I think Nebraska may have moved. There was a lot of movement. Nebraska was moving before the snap, I think.
And that's the call, so they'll have to do it again. Boy, this has been some story in the second half for the Cornhuskers. If this extra point is eventually good, right now it's 41-3 in favor of Nebraska in the second half.
Gee. And there's the man right there, Mr. Jones.
What a day. This is the easiest pick for player of the game we've had this year.
You're not kidding.
No contest. And he didn't even start the game, folks.
No, the starting tailback, Brown, had 75 yards before he had to check out.
That's right.
And in comes this guy and has a career day.
27 carries, 294 yards, 6 touchdowns.
And against a defense that was allowing only 117 yards rushing per game.
So they try the extra point again, and it's good. 42-3 in the second half, Nebraska. As Achola takes it in again, his second touchdown of the day.
Look at that hole. The defensive tackle Stubblefield got a lot of penetration upfield, and by his penetration it created a natural seam that Achola had an opportunity to work with.
Now on the positive side for Kansas, the 23 points, the most against Nebraska since 1978, and they had that 17-0 lead, and then again a 2017 lead at the half. But whatever this man Tom Osborne said to his team at halftime, it worked, because it's been some kind of second half for the Cornhuskers.
It did, and once again I have to credit Nebraska's poise. I mean, Kansas came out all jacked up emotionally, blocked the punt to start the game. They got the early momentum. Nebraska never flinched. I mean, they just kept their nose to the grindstone, And they said, we're a good football team. We'll weather this storm, and then we'll show what we have, and that's exactly what they did.
So Derek Brown, who had to leave with an injury, finishes the day with 75. He's all smiles, as is this man, Calvin Jones, who came into the day with 5 rushing touchdowns, will walk out of here with 11. 6 today. It's unbelievable is what it is. It is unbelievable. Bowen bumped at the 26-yard line, 29 seconds to go. If Kansas wants to, they can just fall on the knee and run out the clock, and I'm sure Nebraska won't do anything about it.
Keith and McCant's string of consecutive games with a touchdown pass is in danger of being over with.
Well, I would say it's over.
It's over. I mean, well,
yeah, I think you could take the danger part away.
Well, okay, so it stops at 8. He had thrown at least one touchdown pass in every game. That's the 3rd best streak in the history of Nebraska. But with the way they ran today, they didn't need him throwing the ball in the end zone.
No, they really didn't. And again, as you pointed out, they didn't get away from their game plan when they were down 17. They stuck with the rush, and it proved successful. White pitched back to him to the 31-yard line. Clock is rolling. Kansas has a couple of timeouts. They will not exercise them, and KU doesn't even need to run another play if they don't want to. Well, for the Kansas Jayhawks, it's out of the fire and into another fire as they head to Boulder to take on the Colorado Buffaloes. That will do it. Nebraska wraps up a huge day for Calvin Jones. And Glenn Mason really has nothing to be ashamed of. He put a scare into Tom Osborne and the Nebraska Cornhuskers, leading 17-0 at one point, as he shakes the hand of the man he calls the legend. And Osborne saying, hey, boy, you really stuck it to us there when it was 17-0. And Mason probably saying that Calvin Jones is some kind of redshirt freshman.
Well, Nebraska's program, their depth, I mean, it's so evident. Their 2nd and 3rd string players at probably many positions were high school All-Americans, or at least All-State in their particular states. And this guy I bet was. What a big-time player he is. He burst onto the scene this afternoon, I'll tell you.
I agree with you, though. What do you do next week?
Yeah.
Calvin Jones and the Nebraska Cornhuskers will go home to take on Iowa State. I'm sure Jim Walden is going to be happy to see the replay of this one as he gets prepared to take on the Nebraska Cornhuskers next week. And then, of course, it's that showdown with Oklahoma, that one also in Lincoln, as Nebraska wraps up their road schedule for 1991. 593 yards of total offense, and Calvin Jones had the big day. 6 rushing touchdowns, 8 rushing touchdowns in all for Nebraska. They dominate the second half and beat Kansas 59-23.